Hey there, I'm Rachel.
I'm Tristan.
We're the hosts of The Nooniverse on the Fandom Limb Network. Our podcast dives into everything related to the Asian entertainment scene. Whether it's K-pop, K-dramas, boys love, our universe covers it all. We post every other Tuesday morning to dish about what we're watching, who we love, and why you should too. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you're interested in listening to real conversations about the Asian entertainment wave that doesn't get enough love, then you'll love The Nooniverse.
It ain't over till it's over. Feeling negligent in the production of Rocky V, 16 years later, Sylvester Stallone devised a plot that would help bring closure to the Rocky series once and for all. Along with Stallone returning as the titular character, Burt Young and Tony Burton came back to portray the characters of Paulie and Duke, respectively. However, in order to give the plot more of an emotional punch, Stallone decided to write out the character of Rocky's beloved wife, Adrian, with Talia Shire's blessing, of course. Heroes and This Is Us star Milo Ventimiglia joins the cast as a grown-up version of Rocky Jr., as well as real-life boxer Antonio Tarver as Rocky's opponent, Mason "The Line" Dixon. Making $156 million at the box office, Rocky Balboa was both a financial and a critical success, with critics agreeing that it worked as a fitting send-off to the decades-old series. But what did we think of this movie? Joining us for this episode is friend of the pod, writer, and director Megan Seeley. Welcome back to the final episode of our ongoing saga of the Rocky franchise of films. We watched the 2006 Sylvester Stallone boxing classic, Rocky Balboa. This is a show about franchises, underdog movie franchises. You're listening to License to Watch.
Why in the world was this movie made?
Take it back. Take it back.
They don't show the actual
Frank,
acapella
they don't
singer
show the
guys.
actual Frank Stallone in this one.
Yeah, that's a.
But there was a Frank Stallone Jr., I think, in the credits as a restaurant patron. Yeah.
I mean, I imagine there was lots of little Frank Stallones running around the restaurant, running around Rocky's restaurant.
Who's Frank Stallone?
His brother.
Yeah, Sylvester Stallone's brother, who
His
was
less
Internationally
famous
renowned musician, Frank Stallone.
Oh.
So in the previous Rockies, he's one of the people who stands around the trash can and sings.
Cool.
He's a trash can singer. It's Frank Stallone and the Trash Can Singers.
It's
Take it back.
Do.
All
it's
right.
There's not a lot of prestige with being a singer who sings around a trash can fire. But it is an experience that I think a lot of us would like to have at some point in their life.
I think it's the first step in being a musician is that's the base level musician is
right.
Trash can fire singer.
It's your first instrument.
It's like the work. It's like starting in the mailroom.
Trash can acapella.
Yeah, trash can acapella.
Yeah.
All right, we're here, and this is it. This is the last Rocky film. This is Rocky Balboa, a 2006 classic, written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. Here it is. Dude.
Yeah.
Take it back. This movie, there's a lot to unpack here. It's got some differences. It's got some similarities. I don't know. It's certainly a thing. Is it a movie that exists? I don't know. Well,
Is it a movie that exists? I say yes.
We will find out.
joining us today is our lovely guest, writer and director Megan Seeley. Hey.
Hello. Happy to be here.
Great. We are so glad that you could join us for this last installment of the Rocky series. We've been knee-deep in Sylvester Stallone's great acting ability, writing, and directing ability for most of these. But this is it. We've come a long way, and after today, we will not be discussing Rocky anymore. At the end of today's show, Harris will announce what his next pick is for the next franchise that we're going to be taking apart movie by movie.
So stay tuned. Don't touch that dial.
Megan, thanks for coming. And what is your history with the Rocky franchise? Was this your first time seeing this movie? Have you ever seen any of the other movies? Did you watch them as a kid with your parents, or did you not see them until adulthood? What's your story?
I have never seen any Rocky movie.
What?
Until I watched this one a week ago when you texted me.
Oh my god!
Is
So
this
this
the
was
only
my
one?
foray. I did listen to Colleen's episode, so I feel like I've seen the first.
You listened to that one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I think you've got everything you need to know from this movie.
I know. I really feel like I do. I understand everything perfectly, and I don't know what happened or like what were the last four for.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you're right. Once you get this, you don't really need anything else.
A lot of this movie is
I
talking
think you need
about
the
the
first.
first movie.
Yeah, so I feel like I got a good picture
And
of
being
it.
almost the identical thing to the first movie. It's like the same plot.
Or not even being identical, but like just rehashing everything that happened, including like just taking scenes from the first one and putting them in.
Yeah, I'd like if they could rename this whole franchise. I think they could call it Flashback the movie or Montage the movie. It's like or Flashback Montage is probably the best.
Flashback montage.
Yes.
The movie.
Or the series. So much of this series is based on reminding you of what came before. But this movie is the first one that doesn't open with the last 20 minutes of the previous movie.
Really?
Not shocking because the last 20 minutes of the previous movie were as bad as the previous, 100 minutes of the previous movie. It was all pretty bad. The last movie was terrible.
The last
and
movie
they
was
did not
hot
want to think
garbage.
about it again.
Yeah, so they say that Stallone wanted to make this movie because for years he hated that the sour note that the series went off on from Rocky V, and he always wanted to give Rocky Balboa a fitting send off, and so this was always meant to be the last one, and it basically is. I mean, well, Stallone's still alive, so I wouldn't put it past him.
Getting back in the ring, he's going to take on Creed in the next one. He's going to take on Adonis Creed.
That would be sick, actually.
That's going to be the third Creed movie is Rocky versus Creed.
Well, we don't
VR.
know. We don't know about like what kind of advancements in cloning are going to happen between now and when the next movie's made.
Ooh,
So
I
we
kinda like
could
the
have
idea.
Rocky
Yeah.
versus an Apollo Creed clone.
They bring like a sci-fi element into the series.
Yeah.
It rejuvenates it, and they do like 6 more movies.
Yeah, no, they clone Apollo Creed and then they age him up to Rocky's age because Carl Weathers is, of course, older
just bring
at
Weathers
this
back.
point.
Yeah, sure, why not? Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, and then like because that's boxing is tied into that somehow. I'm sure.
Cloning?
Yes.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, they pretty much go hand in glove.
Yes.
Boxing love.
Yeah, all right. So we've got the movie on. We're kind of watching along. It's muted. We got the subtitles going. We're looking at Milo Ventimiglia. Is
Yeah,
that how you say his name? Yeah. He plays Rocky Jr., who he still calls Kid in this movie. But
Yeah.
then his name is Robert, I think, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
this is Robert. They're both named Robert.
Yeah.
They are?
Rocky's
Yes.
real name is Robert, and we only know this from like one throwaway line in Rocky V, which is a movie that doesn't really count. So I say his name's Rocky.
His name wasn't Rocky on his birth certificate, though.
But
Rocker.
it is Robert Jr., so
Yeah. What do you think would cause a woman to name her son at birth Rocky?
I don't think anything would. So the only Rockies,
Yeah.
only Rockies that exist are people who are actually named Robert and just called Rocky, or people where the mother died in childbirth. And the dad
my
was like,
God.
yes, I get to name him Rocky. She was not having that. She flatly refused. That's a silver lining right there.
Wait, are you saying that Rocky is a common like nickname for people named Robert?
No, I'm not.
Oh,
no, I think,
okay.
as far as
That
I
was
know,
all
there's-
make-believe talk.
As far as I know, there's only one. But
What is there was like Rocky Marciano. What was his real name?
Raquel?
Raquel, yes.
Never call me that.
Famous boxer Raquel Marciano. I can look that up.
How would you ever be able to look that up? We need some kind of like information source for that.
Yeah, like
Do you think there are women named Raquel who have gone by Rocky? Like people
Probably
call them that as
Like if they were into drag, yeah, I could definitely see that.
oh, you know what Rocky Marciano's first name was? Rocco.
Oh,
So there you go.
Rocco.
It is an Italian name. Now that we mention,
Yeah, yeah. There's Roccos.
Yeah,
There's lots of
there are.
Roccos.
like Rocco and his brothers.
Sure, yeah.
I grew up around the block from a kid named Rocco.
Here's a big question.
Did you think it was a nickname and it was really named Robert?
No, I definitely didn't.
Did you call him Robert?
Wait,
thinking it was his full name, and he had to keep on correcting you. That's what every time people are always trying to call me Harrison.
Was
And
it
I'm always
really
like? No, don't try to make my name into something extra. It's just normal length.
Was it really a pet rock?
What?
Was it really a pet rock?
Your
Was it
friend,
really not
Rocco?
a human friend?
Was the kid you grew up with actually a pet rock?
Oh my
Is what he's
god,
asking.
that's the question he's asking.
That's the question that he.
I
wants
have
to know.
another question.
The people want to know.
Yeah, I have another big question. If Rocky is a nickname, what is Rocky the Flying Squirrel's real name?
Robert J. Squirrel. I don't know.
Probably Rocco. He seems like he might be Italian.
Really?
If your name's Rocco, you should just go by Rocco.
I agree.
Right. Why would you change the last syllable? Oh, there's Spider Rico.
Spider Rico, his first opponent in the first movie.
Makes a weird cameo.
Is
in
that the same guy?
Can you even call it a cameo? He's in like 6 scenes.
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
got like
yeah,
tons
that's
of
the part.
lines.
That's true.
Yeah, it's the same actor.
I can
Really?
only guess that it's the same actor because
He's
it's
not-
like clearly a non-actor guy.
Not
Yeah.
in good shape.
I mean-
Considering that he was a boxer in a different movie.
He's in good shape considering he's a very old man.
Yeah, yeah, you got a point.
I like this is my favorite Rocky hat.
Yes.
I really like this hat.
Yeah, I like it too.
It's like the
Yeah.
tweed version of the original
Exactly.
Rocky hat?
It's
Yeah,
like
okay.
it's like a slightly upscale version of his original hat. And now he's got to put on his valet jacket.
I like that.
Was anyone else wishing that the movie didn't have a boxing plotline at all, and it just continued to follow Rocky in this adventure in restaurant touring?
I did. There was a moment where I was like, could this just be like Waiting, but with Rocky running a restaurant?
But like
It's
not
just
funny either, just
Yeah,
like
just
kind of
doing-
boring.
Doing table touches.
It's just him telling stories to people.
Yeah.
Exactly. He's doing his table touches. He's trying to balance the books. Their margins are like razor thin.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what the movie wanted to be because the whole boxing thing was so weak.
yeah.
It was so like right, like that. I don't know. I don't
How
know if
can
any
we
of that
fit
plot was
boxing in
believable.
here?
I was struck by, I saw this the first time in the theaters, and then I didn't watch it again until now. So it's been, since 2006. And I was surprised at how, like, I took all the boxing stuff from this movie, I just accepted and took it face value in 2006. And now in 2022, I'm like, this story makes no sense at all. Like, they're actually going to boo this guy because they think that he's fighting inferior opponents.
Right? Does that actually ever happen?
Like whole crowds of people have that same opinion. Like,
I mean, everyone.
Oh, I like this is super
That's-
dangerous when they're
well-
watching the TV car.
yeah,
Some of this is based on reality, but like kind of improbable reality. So like the idea of a very old 50-something retired fighter coming out of retirement and actually fighting well happened just before
Yeah,
this
that-
movie came out.
that has
George
happened.
Foreman came out of retirement and actually at 50-something won the heavyweight title. And also this guy, the sort of the people blaming the guy for not fighting better opponents, that's kind of the Mayweather story, like Floyd Mayweather, everyone said he ducked the good fighters in their primes and then only fought junk guys who he could beat up on. And then when the good fighters got old, then he would go and pick them apart technically. But he's like, everyone agrees he's like the greatest fighter of his era, but he never really beat anybody good in their prime. So
Yeah.
and not that like whole crowds are booing him, but a lot of people don't like him for that.
yeah, exactly. Like there is that stuff in reality, but this movie presupposes that like entire crowds are like very aware of that, and their opinion is all the exact same, and
Are
they're
you
very
suggesting
vocal.
that this movie dumbs down some stuff to make it more bad? I am shocked. Shocked.
Suggesting that.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this movie. I would say this about the realism of the boxing matches. This is probably the most, to this point in the series, the most realistic fights you see, not just in the way they're sort of shot ESPN style, but in the way that the fighters actually keep their gloves up and like protect themselves sometimes and occasionally avoid getting hit right in the face.
It's improvised. I read that.
They do a good job of improvising it to make it look like, I mean, obviously Antonio Tarver is a boxer, but like Sylvester Stallone actually occasionally looks like he might actually box and not just get punched directly in the face every single time.
Well, there's a couple of things I want to say here, but I think before we jump into anything, let's talk about Antonio Tarver. What's his deal? He's a real boxer. Was he discovered on The Contender, the Stallone like reality TV show?
I don't know that.
I feel like this is something you should have looked up. If you were gonna bring it up.
I
That's
looked
something
well,
I
when
don't,
you-
Antonio, know.
when-
Oh no, not
Sorry.
even, not even
Tony,
close.
no.
Card.
when
Take it
you
back, Colin.
when you
Yeah.
look at his IMDb, in his pictures, there's like the contender, like the poster for it, and that was like a early 2000s reality show where they had boxers on, and they would like eliminate someone each week until they have like the contender, the best boxer. I never watched it, but I gather that is what the show. I don't know how many seasons it did. But I'm guessing he was like the winner or like a fan favorite or something, and like that's how he got this role.
Well, he was an Olympian. He won a bronze medal in '96 or something. And now I'm trying to look up.
Who are we talking about?
The opponent,
Mason Dixon?
yeah,
Mason
Mason,
the Line
Mason
Dixon,
the Line
yes.
Dixon.
Yeah, no. Apparently he was just a fighter. He was a unified light heavyweight champion. He fought Roy Jones Jr. twice. Those are sort of his big fights.
But at this time, the biggest boxer was Lennox Lewis.
Yes,
Yeah, but Tarver is a light heavyweight, and
Lennox Lewis was a giant.
Enormous.
they wanted
Huge-
Roy
huge
Jones
human.
Jr. for the role, and Stallone said he called him like several times and left messages and never heard back from him.
Yeah.
That's why he didn't get the role.
Well, Lennox Lewis was also like 6'5", 300 pounds
Yeah,
or something
he's-
like that. He was like insanely big.
I don't remember. We did our weight class conversation
Yeah.
before. I don't remember what the difference between a light heavyweight and a heavyweight is, but
Yeah.
but if it's the difference between Lennox Lewis and Antonio Tarver, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's several pounds. Because there's no ceiling on the heavyweights, so you can just get as big as you want.
Yeah. Also, Lennox Lewis was British, which it's not as American as the Rocky.
It would be weird for a British guy
Rocky
to be
V.
nicknamed Mason the Line Dixon.
Yeah, really weird. Really, really weird.
Why is he named that?
Well, because they have to have funny nicknames.
Oh.
There's so much you don't know about.
I don't
the
know
movies.
anything.
It's a staple of the Rocky movies that all the fighters have like kind of dumb but also kind of cool names.
I would say this veers more into like the dumb.
Yes.
Like, think about the logistics of this name. So the Line is the nickname part of it. So his real name is Mason Dixon. Like,
That's right.
is that a cruel
His
joke?
birth name.
Or yeah, like
Yeah.
his parents were like had a sense of humor and they were like, oh, it'd be funny, and then they were just like, yeah, it's not a bad name. I kind of like it.
It just brings up more and more questions. The more and more the questions are answered. It's like,
Yeah.
are they Southern? Are they Northern? Are they Western? Are they like?
They
They're
said
like-
he's
are
from
they geography
Florida.
nerds?
Yeah.
He's
Oh
from
yeah, he's
Florida.
from Florida, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, that
So not geography.
that kind of answers a lot of questions.
Yeah.
No, sorry. I don't know why I love taking shots at Florida.
Unprovoked shot at Florida.
Yeah.
Megan's from Florida.
I am.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
And you don't know any Mason the Line Dixons?
I know a couple.
Wait, what part of Florida are you from?
Fort Lauderdale.
Ah,
Oh, the good part.
Yeah.
I actually don't know. I figured they got to have a good part somewhere. Right?
that's like sort of by Miami, but south of it.
Yeah, I think I could say I'm from Miami. I think
Oh.
people where I'm from, you could say either.
Oh,
so I
but-
alternate.
Oh, so you prefer to say Fort Lauderdale?
Today.
It depends on your company.
Yeah, it depends on my company. This is for the public, so.
Interesting. Okay, so you feel like our podcast audience would have a negative perception of Miami, or you're just worried about that?
Yeah, I guess in the moment I was worried and
And
tried to.
she
Lay
might have
low.
been worried. She might have been worried that we would think that she was trying to big time us. Like, oh, look,
Yeah, I didn't want to
yeah,
intimidate
Miami.
everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wrote a Will Smith song about where I'm from.
That's absolutely
You
true.
never heard Will Smith's Fort Lauderdale? Yeah. So okay. There's so much to unpack here.
Wait a minute.
I think we need
Wait
the
a
plot
minute.
summary.
Will Smith wrote a song about where we all came from because parents just don't understand.
Good.
Thank
good.
you.
We can all relate.
All right.
All right.
I think we need to summarize this plot because
Before we summarize the plot, I want to point out to Megan, who doesn't realize this, but just to everybody, how often, like, Siraki's kind of moved back into the old neighborhood, which we will talk more about, but he's now sitting in the same bar that was there in the first Rocky movie. The pet shop and Mickey's gym are still there, even though they're both apparently closed
abandoned.
and have been closed for a long time, and nobody's like, opened them up or turned them into something else. And it's sort of just like a ghost town. And I wondered how much of that, like, it definitely feels very fan servicey Like they're like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember this place? Hey, we got that. We recreated that old storefront, which is kind of annoys me.
I will say though, like compared to the amount of fan service that's in movies today, like this pales in comparison.
Yes,
this felt like a healthy amount of fan service compared to like the shoving down your throat that like all the Marvel movies.
You're right. Movies have gotten a lot worse.
Yeah,
but between all of that and the ice rink being leveled and like how crappy this bar looks, and when you finally get to see Little Marie's apartment during the day, you realize it's in a burned out building.
It's a lot.
It makes this part of Philadelphia look like it's having a very hard time.
I want to know which one of Frank Stallone's illegitimate children this girl is, because she is not an actress. This is the whole confrontation at the bar where she comes up and yells at him, and she's like doing the whole like, I don't know, like Jerry Springer thing.
Yeah. So wait, she thought that he would buy her a drink because he's famous?
Mm-hmm.
Her and all her friends.
And when he did not, she was like very, very angry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't understand how fame works.
Yeah.
Right.
I get it.
This is where he tells the bartender that Adrian died of woman cancer.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got the way it's written is he's very much attempting to do the Rocky thing of like, he's not so smart, but there's something charming about the way he says what he feels or whatever. And like, it's better than Rocky 5, but it's not better than the first Rocky.
There's a couple lines that I thought were amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should wait till we get there. Or
No, go for it.
Go ahead.
I loved when he's taking out all the stuff from his pockets and he's like, I feel like a kangaroo. With all this stuff, because kangaroos don't have a ton of stuff in their pockets. They have just their one thing, right?
They don't even have car keys usually.
Yeah, and I think only the female kangaroos have the pouch, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't know, actually.
I
That
don't
makes
know
sense.
The male kangaroos have pockets, like one on each side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really
and buttons.
it's really reversed. They carry around purses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woman
No, I think
purses.
this is up there with the best characterization of kind of dumb but kind of also smart Rocky.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
not as
yeah.
good as the first one.
The
but
speech
it's-
to the son is like at times good and at times
Oh my god!
bad.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about that scene.
Well, let's
here,
wait.
but
Let's summarize the plot,
because-
and then
yeah.
we'll jump right into that, because that was my favorite scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Colin, you ready? You ready for this plot?
All right.
Ready?
Okay, so the movie starts with Mason "The Line" Dixon, the current heavyweight champion of the world, winning a fight easily and getting booed out of the ring with ice thrown at him because he's not fighting good enough people, I guess. Then we learn that Rocky is still in the old neighborhood. He's got a restaurant now, and he's working at that restaurant, and he's really sad that Adrian's dead. He's thinking about it extra hard because it's the anniversary of her death or something. Right.
He has constant reminders all
He's
around.
really trying to reconnect with the son who he's not close with anymore because they never were. But whatever. That's just a comment by me.
He treats him like shit.
Yeah. So he's trying to reconnect with the son, but the son's like, I'm in your shadow. I don't like it. Meanwhile, the heavyweight champion of the world is like, what do I do? What do I do? And then they see an ESPN simulation of him fighting Rocky, and that makes big news. And everyone starts talking about it. Then Rocky befriends a girl from the neighborhood who's grown into a woman now, and her son. And he,
As one is wont to do.
yeah, and they get close, and he gets a dog, and then he decides he wants to box again for reasons that the boxing commission accepts for some reason. And then
Got something in the basement, Colin.
yeah, okay. And then the heavyweight champion of the world's people find him, and they're like, we should do a fight. And he's like, yes. And so he starts training real hard. He gets his people back to train him, and he's just old and training really hard. And then he fights the heavyweight champion of the world at 50 plus and goes 10 rounds with him, and is the only true test of his ability that he has ever faced.
Split decision.
In a split decision. The movie ends with everyone feeling happy about it, I guess, even though, like, in reality, he really embarrassed the heavyweight champion of the world, but whatever.
But Mason Dixon still wins.
Yeah, he did win.
Yes, he did win, kind of. Pyrrhic victory, I think. Yeah, he's like, oh my god, everyone hates me. How can I win over the boxing audience? And AJ Benz is like, beat up an old man.
It's ridiculous. I can't.
Oh, this part.
That's it just kept blowing me away at how much.
European.
Oh yeah, Jamaica European.
European.
That was really good.
I laughed out
that
loud
might be
at
my
that.
favorite line.
Steps.
Yeah.
Her reaction's so good too.
She's just like, I'm gonna let that one go.
Yeah,
She's amazing. I really like this
amazing.
woman.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's done like nothing else.
Yeah, she's incredible.
She's Irish, I think.
I think that like at some point like him and her are like gonna fuck though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
there's no Rocky
Yeah.
7.
Do you think? Yeah, seriously.
like,
I mean,
After they have sex, is he still gonna call her Little Marie?
it's
Or will he
during.
like actually call or during? Or will he like finally call her just Marie at some point?
Well, there's so much going on here, and there's so much to talk about. But
So
like,
much.
but like, this is my thing. Is I remember watching this movie when it came out, and there's a couple of things that I didn't get, like, and they're both coming up right here because one is the Marie plotline, where I could have sworn they were in a relationship when I watched it when it came out, and then I watch this movie again now, and I'm like, wait. Are they in a relationship, or is he just like weirdly mentoring her, or does he actually more invested in mentoring her kid? And like, aside from the one time before the fight in the hotel room doorway where she like kisses him kind of maybe on the lips but also maybe on the cheek.
Yeah, that was a strange, like, bizarre, erotic
I
moment.
think there was a cut scene there because she's bringing the picture of Adrian, where she offers to hold the picture of Adrian in front of her face while. No, I'm just...
I took this picture of your wife and I cut little eye holes and mouth holes.
Oh my god, it's so fucked up. I'm sorry.
That would make perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense for the character.
It's
I
almost like his fetish, and he drives this like rapey van now in this movie. It's almost like his fetish is like he needs to find some shy, like, woman in the neighborhood who like needs help.
Yeah, it has to be in this neighborhood.
and put her up on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like how he tells her like straight up. He's like, "Yeah, look, Adrian's dead, but she's still my wife, basically. So like, I'm not looking for anything." And she's like, "Oh, then what is this?"
So
you know?
so just hand stuff is what I'm saying.
yeah, just
No, like,
glove stuff.
I think what the audience is supposed to think is that like they're gonna have like a relationship that goes on for years before it becomes romantic or intimate.
And then on his deathbed, he's like, "I think I'm ready."
Yeah,
Still got it.
One more match.
One more round.
He's got something in the basement for sure.
Got something in the sub basement.
There's a beast that
basement.
needs to come out.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to what we were talking about earlier, the scene between him and his son outside the restaurant. I love that speech that he gives him and how he says, like, what is it? He's like, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how
Hard you can get hit and keep going forward.
Yeah.
That's like sort of the thesis of the entire Rocky series.
So
Because
true. And never put your gloves up. That's the thing that he forgot to mention. It's not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward with your gloves down by your hips somewhere and shots just raining down directly on your forehead.
it's about how much brain damage you could
It's not just about how hard you can get hit. It's about how hard you can get yourself to get hit.
What?
It's
Like
about
in the
how hard you
basement?
could
yeah.
how you can put yourself in a
Basement,
position.
in the attic. You just got to get hit everywhere. Do not block a single punch. When life starts hitting you, just let it happen.
When life is hitting you, you want it to hit you even harder. Like,
I love that speech.
Here's the thing. I am not a big fan of Milo
Ventimiglia?
Ventimiglia.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen him be okay in some stuff, but I've also seen him not be very good in some things. And I would say this probably, most of this performance falls more in the not very good thing.
I thought he was.
I thought he was great. I thought he was like Timmy Chalamet in this.
Really? I mean, I just thought, like, at the beginning of that scene, not that the writing is spectacular for his character, but at the beginning of that scene, I was like, oh my God, this is brutal watching him try to make this dialogue work and just failing spectacularly. And we've talked before on this podcast, not just here, but for other movies, and how Stallone is secretly a really good actor. And that's like the turning point of that scene. It's amazing how quickly a good speech delivered by a good actor can like flip that scene from I'm cringing because I'm like, oh, this isn't working, to all of a sudden Stallone's like, okay, get the fuck out of my way, I'm gonna save this, and just absolutely kills it. I was just like, oh my God, yes.
I actually think the scene where he describes the basement to Paulie like should be on the cutting room floor, except that his acting in it is amazing.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I agree. That was barely held together.
That scene didn't really make a lot of sense. He wasn't saying anything that really meant anything. And like, what the fuck is Paulie doing? He's painting while he's on the clock because I guess like
Is he trying to get fired?
And then he's surprised when they lay him off.
Yeah, exactly. Like
they're like, pack up your art supplies, Paul. You'd be let go. He's like, no, what?
I thought you were paying me
You
to
guys
do
didn't
paintings
like my paintings?
in this meat locker. Yeah. So like, that scene, I would have cut it from the script. I'd have been like, what the fuck is the point of? I hate the Paulie character though, so that's that. It's difficult for me to see Paulie not like part ways with Rocky at some point because he is like the greatest burden on his life.
And he's still racist in this movie. It's
He's
like they
still
didn't
so
even
racist.
Oh yeah. And what? The dog's not ugly? I didn't understand that.
Yeah.
That's like in movies. It's like a big thing I hate when like in like teen movies or like any kind of movie, I guess. Like when a guy like looks at a girl and like everyone like just thinks this girl is like the most beautiful girl in the world. They didn't cast it right, and it's just like some like average looking girl or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Like when
She
the
gets,
consensus,
like the slow motion hair flip, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
okay, I guess.
okay.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, that could go for anything. It doesn't have to be a pretty girl. Like, yeah, like this dog. Like,
Punchy.
the dog
Yeah.
looked cute, you know.
He's
And
a
everyone's
cute
like,
dog.
"Oh, what an ugly dog."
Yeah. Yeah, you can definitely miscast. Even from like, there's also a difference between. I think like I always think about it more like there's plenty of like attractive actresses and actors that aren't the hot person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and sometimes they'll cast a perfectly attractive, like better looking than anyone I know, but not like the sex symbol head turner hot person, and they'll cast him in that head turning role, and it's just like I kind of don't buy it. And this dog was definitely cast in like the ugly dog role, and nobody buys it.
I think in high school movies it makes sense though, because I think in high school like who the hot person in is like a little bit about like puberty and like the social politics of everything. Like there's plenty of like
It's all about attitude.
I mean, there's plenty of like women that were like hot in high school, but like later seem like they just are normal
I mean,
women.
this goes for guys too. I'm sure.
Of
like,
course,
Megan
yeah.
had,
I was just gonna say,
I'm
of
thinking
course.
specifically about some of like the quote unquote attractive people I went to high school with, and like I've looked back at my yearbook and been like, ooh,
Male and
really?
female. Yeah.
It's funny because
Yeah.
I thought they were really attractive.
Well, I think-
I wanted to look like them, and now I'm looking
Yeah,
back and
it
going,
is
ooh.
so true when you're like going through. I don't know, when you're
Just hold your
attracted
mic.
to when you're attracted to somebody and they're like, it's because their body's like not developed. When you're just starting out.
Yeah, I mean, and conversely, like I've gone through the yearbook and like you look at people you haven't thought of in years, and you're like, oh, this person's like really attractive. Why wasn't I friends with her or whatever? Then you realize like she was like the nerd, or whatever.
Right.
She
Social
didn't shower.
constructs.
She didn't shower. Yeah. She picked her nose in the back of the class.
Right.
Oh my god.
But going back to casting and Milo Ventimiglia, I feel like, say what you want about his performance, I think he's fine in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's spot on casting to the point of like they even have the same like mouth movement when they talk, like their mouth
I
like
think.
dips.
Do you think he was doing that on purpose? I thought he was doing that on purpose.
No, he does
really,
that.
He really talks like that.
Unless
Maybe
he's been
that's why
doing
they
that on
cast
purpose
him.
his whole career. Yeah.
I will play a younger version of
Yeah.
Rocky Balboa at some
Exactly.
I really like Milo in that one movie with Otis.
Yeah.
The second you said I really like Milo,
I know,
I knew
I
what
do.
you were gonna do.
It was so pointless.
But it was a good adventure. that
such
they
a
had.
waste of time. I'm sorry.
He's from that show Heroes, right? Is that where
Yes.
He was in Gilmore
And
Girls.
This is us.
Oh.
Gilmore Girls, he was great.
So he's been in like several really huge shows.
Did you guys ever watch Heroes?
Yes.
I watched the first season, and it was like the biggest dick tease show. Like it was like it was like Lost.
The Save the Cheerleader, Save the World.
Yep, and it
Yeah.
like was
Oh,
all
right, I
build up,
remember that.
the whole season to this like big climax. And then I just remember it ended so badly that I like barely even hung around for season 2, and I don't think
You and everyone else. I think.
everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of those shows that I like Lost. Lost managed to drag the mystery out for whatever 7 seasons or whatever. Heroes, it was I think it was obvious because I watched the first season too, and it was pretty obvious by the end of the first season that they had no idea what the fuck they were doing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay, I thought you guys had a plan, but you're just making this shit up. Speaking of heroes, Hayden Panettiere.
Yes.
Married,
Another impronounceable
Oh
last
right.
name.
Oh, she married
married
Vladimir
a giant
Klitschko.
boxer.
Yeah.
Or
Really?
maybe she got
Yeah.
engaged to him, but yeah.
Wait, isn't he Ukrainian?
He is Ukrainian.
Yeah.
He is there fighting with his brother, who's the mayor of
Yeah.
Kyiv.
Yep.
And he's like, they're like my height. Except
they're
like
big.
they're my height, except
Like
they're like
6'11" or something.
twice my
Yeah.
width.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
And she's tiny. She's like 5'2" or something.
yeah.
Because Klitschko and Lennox Lewis was like the biggest fight of their
Yes, and,
both of their
and they
careers, I
are.
think.
Yeah, that's like the Klitschko's are bigger than Lennox Lewis.
Yeah.
And that's who she married. One
Yeah.
of those.
Yeah,
Yeah, and she's like what, like 5'2" or something.
yeah,
Like,
she's little.
I saw her because I was in the first episode of Nashville that she's in.
Oh, yeah,
and I got paid. I like went to set for like a few hours and I just had to I played her fan in the audience and I just reached out and like held hands with her and I got $200 and I was like, this is awesome.
You've touched her. Here's your
touched her.
reward.
here's your reward.
You've touched greatness. How does it feel?
This is one of these. So this is my broader complaint with this movie, which I'm gonna tip my hand here a little bit. I actually like this movie a lot.
I liked it.
A lot of it worked for me, mostly just because I think it accomplishes the goal that they set out to accomplish, which is give sort of the Rocky series a more satisfying conclusion, no matter how ridiculous and on the nose. But my biggest complaint with it is that so he's taking this kid's steps, who looks like, I don't know, calling him a kid, looks like a grown-ass man.
23 years old.
Yeah, exactly. But he's taking this kid's steps, who is Jamaican European, and Marie's kid, and he's kind of taking him under his wing and the kid's going to help out around the restaurant and stuff like that. And the first job he gives him is come to the pound and help me pick out a dog. And this kid was like, when he sees Rocky coming home with his mother from the bar, he's like mean mugging him. And now he takes his job with him, and they adopt his dog. And he's like, what should we name the dog? And Steps is like, Punchy. And it's obviously like a shot at Rocky kind of being stupid and punchy.
Yes.
And then later Steps feels bad about it and points out that it was just a joke. And Rocky's like, yeah, I know, I get it. You're a funny guy. But it's like, this is every part of this movie is they introduce a conflict and then immediately within a couple of minutes resolve it without any struggle whatsoever. It's like, that's the same thing with it's a great speech that he gives to the kid,
but it fixes everything. Yeah.
The conflict comes to a head and the kid demands that he not fight this big fight, and he takes him outside and is like, no, here's why I'm going to fight the fight. The kid's like, okay, I'm on board. I'm all in.
And he quits his job, right?
Yeah, he quits his job. He's like, okay, great, I'll fight the fight with you.
This is not where it's the worst, though. Not neither of those scenes is where it's the worst. The worst is when he's talking to the boxing commission.
Yeah, that is.
And that speech he gives them is like the main idea of the main idea of the speech is, no, you should do what I say because I say so. And we're supposed to, as the audience, be like, oh wow, he really convinced us. You know what I mean? And they're trying to protect him. He's old and brain damaged.
I think it would have made more sense if he was if instead of, they were like, I'm sorry, we cannot in good conscience license you. And he was like, come on. Yeah. They're like, no, sorry, Rocky. And he just sat there. He's like, come on. Just kept on saying it until finally they were like, all right,
conflict
champ.
doesn't make sense. They're making a point to care about him, and he's like, you don't really care about me unless you do what I want you to do.
But he did pass his physical, quote unquote, with flying colors.
Right.
So it seems like they don't give him, that's what the most frustrating thing about that scene for me is they never give him an explanation, and he never really asks for one. They're just like, you passed with flying colors, congratulations, but we're saying no for some reason.
Yeah,
all
why?
these tests that he had to take, that should have been a montage.
Oh,
they should have had him carrying a log over his head and doing all these crazy things in the
Chasing a
snow,
chicken around, boxing stuff.
It's like cool music, and then they show him before the tribunal, and they're just like, no, we can't do it.
Totally.
I don't think that's the kind of tests he had to take. I think they were cognitive tests.
That would have been funny if the tests the boxing commission runs you through are all the things that he's done in previous movies. Yeah. We're climbing a mountain, climbing steps, chasing a chicken, running on the beach.
He has to fight Clubber Lang again.
He's got to fight Clubber Lang. He's got to run on the beach in a crop top.
No, the biggest disappointment about this movie for me, I read in the trivia that Clubber Lang was supposed to be one of the commentators in the fight.
Oh.
It was like a cameo, and he was going to just be saying talking trash about Rocky the whole time. That's what this movie should have been. They should have brought back all the old, obviously they can't bring back Apollo Creed. And
Ghost Apollo.
Yeah.
Apollo Creed, what's the actor's name again? I can never think of his name. Carl Weathers, yeah. He would not let them use his image in this movie because he wanted a role in this, and Stallone was like, hey, I can't give you a role. Your character died.
Yeah. I want to be a Force ghost.
I do. I mean, while that is true that like Apollo Creed could not be in the movie because his character was dead, the movie does kind of suggest that while Rocky is experiencing the symptoms of his brain damage, that he thinks he's going into the realm of the dead to speak with Adrian and Mickey. I believe the movie implies that.
Yeah, because we see quick subliminal flashes of
Yeah.
them, right?
Like anytime it's black and white, slow motion, and like he's hallucinating, it seems like he's going into like the realm of the beyond.
Get up, you bum.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll never win.
That's his memory of her.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Colin, what would you do if this movie ended like at the end? He fades away, and then it like fades up to white, and then all of a sudden it's just Adrian, and she's like in the hospital, and she wakes up.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I'd be 100% on board.
Colin has this theory. There in Rocky 2, Adrian, who's not in this movie, she goes into a coma, and Colin's theory is that all these sequels are just a fever dream or like a coma dream.
Yeah.
Of
That
her.
Adrian's having.
well, why does he evaporate at the end?
That's supposed to imply that his eventual passing.
Yeah.
That's I think. Like the character didn't die in this movie, but he will someday.
Yeah,
He dies in Adrian's at the end of Adrian's coma dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
his spirit can be at peace now that he's taken one more beating.
Does he ever win any fights?
Yeah, he wins.
He wins all of them except for this one and the one in the first movie.
Okay, because that's all I'm familiar with.
He basically never loses. Oh, he loses to Clubber Lang the first time.
yeah,
He fights him twice in the same movie.
Right. But this movie ends. This is basically like a mirror image of the first movie because it's the same
Split decision.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Moral victory.
And him like not even paying attention to the outcome. You know, he's already like won. That's the whole point.
And the same turtles, right?
The same turtles.
Same
yeah.
turtles. Oh. And little Marie from Around the Block. So his love interest in this movie, if you could call her that, I don't know if we're calling her that. I don't. Their relationship is complicated.
Yeah.
But she is not the same actress, but playing the same character as the girl who walks home with him in the first movie, and tells him to whatever, fuck off or whatever she says.
She says some lame thing.
Flips him off and
buzz off.
Creepo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell is Paulie's job though?
He's paint ugly dog.
He's
Is he like is he like the overnight watch? Like, why does he have the coat and the hard hat?
Why is he painting an ugly dog?
I don't. Is it like there has to be someone at the meat packing place like 24/7
in case the meat tries to escape.
Right? Yeah. Like, but like,
we left one of them alive.
Hey, get back here!
Hey, the back end of this cow is making a break for it.
Paulie gets all the shifts where the meat isn't actually coming in, so he doesn't have to process the meat, but he has to be there. So he decided to start painting.
They actually stopped paying him a long time ago, and he just keeps showing up.
Yeah, probably.
His supervisor comes by. He's like, Paulie, how many times I got to tell you stop using the meat blood for your paintings?
He's such an alcoholic. There's a number of possibilities of what's really going on. You know, like he could have been fired a long time ago, and he was just too.
He's just
drunk
hanging around
to know.
at night.
Yeah,
the night manager at the butcher plant or whatever it is. Yeah,
the meat packing plant. See, this is great acting. Like, why is he even crying? And that's like real crying that he's doing. But like, the scene doesn't even make sense at all.
It doesn't. He's very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's good in this. Rocky 5 is like a travesty, and this
I think
is
Burt Young's good too, but he's
Paulie?
but
He's
Paulie
good
is
yeah.
a terrible, terrible character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
He's
Burt
interesting.
Young is good in this, but yeah, in the beginning when he's like driving him all over the place, and he's like just every word out of Paulie's mouth, I'm like, shut the fuck up! Like, it's so annoying.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's basically bitching that Rocky just goes to all these same old places and reminisces, and we're only doing it this one time. I think every day it would get to me too. I'd be like, Jesus, guys.
yeah. But
How many
like,
times do we go to the
I think being
bulldozed skate? park
being
and-
around Paulie, who goes to the bottom of a bottle every day, would be also a problem. But yeah, no, I think Burt Young is great. Like, that's why he makes him really hateable.
Yeah. Megan, do you have any hot takes or like anything you want to talk about? What was your favorite
or most confusing?
Yeah, one of those.
Well, I mean, we already talked the speech that I loved. that speech about with his son was like the right words at the right time for me. It was great.
Yeah, that was good. I think that is clearly like hands down like the best scene in this whole movie.
I mean, I've never seen him before, so I liked all the weird things like, when he's telling his kid, like, there's too many, don't get lost with all those numbers, like, get an eraser and, like, get rid of some of the numbers.
And the kid's just like,
oh, you like
I liked all the things that didn't make any sense.
Yeah, you'd like the first movie. It's full of shit like that.
Why does he say that's just him, or that's a brain damage?
It's both.
It's hard to tell. Don't watch the middle movies because those are his least brain damaged movies. The more he fights, the less brain damage he gets.
The more he's taking on the damage, the less he's experiencing the damage.
It's like he's just supposed to be a lovable dum-dum, basically.
He is. It worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah, this is unlike Rocky 4 when he's like a genius. So
well, that's when he's taking the most punches. That's when he's at his.
It's like a money factor, right? Didn't we say that? Like the more money he has, the smarter he is. And when he loses the money, he gets dumber.
Yep. It's so true. Like about these movies.
The trajectory of this whole series is like Rocky starts off like this. He's kind of like in this poor neighborhood and he's like a nobody. And he starts boxing and he wins. And then in the second movie, he's got some success. And then the third movie, he's rich now because he's like now the champion of the world. In the fourth movie, he's like mega wealthy to the point where he owns a robot in his house that like talks.
And has sex with Paulie.
And has sex with Paulie.
Seriously?
Yes. It's implied.
Wait, this is the fourth one?
Well, you don't actually see the intercourse, but it's heavily implied.
Let me explain the robot. So they give the robot to Paulie, and originally the robot talks in like a normal robot voice, like
yeah.
But then Paulie figures out how to change it to a woman's voice,
the sexy lady voice.
Like
I know it seems like we're not talking about the same movie.
And this is probably why you don't like Paulie, because I didn't know any of that backstory.
Right? Yes. Yeah. He does. He does robot hand jobs.
Well, I feel like that's not going to sour me on Paulie. It's mostly the racist stuff.
Well, yes,
the
definitely.
racism, the alcoholism.
The racism.
The hating the dogs.
I'm not going to judge him for robot sex.
Yeah, any one of these things. Well, racism is pretty bad. Like, if he didn't do all of these bad things, it might be better.
The domestic abuse.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
He's got a couple of real black marks on his resume, unfortunately.
Yeah, he's like screamed at and hit Adrian. We've seen that.
Which he talks about in this movie, because that's like one of his big gripes is that like Rocky keeps on reminding him of Adrian, who he treated like shit and he feels bad about, which he should.
Do you guys agree or disagree that a better ending for this movie would have been like, the fight happens, it's over, they walk out, everybody says like, wow, great job, Rocky. They all go their separate ways. Paulie gets in his car, he starts it up, turns the heat on, he's like, yeah, my car is old.
And the robot's there?
Yeah, he starts driving home, he gets off at the exit and then he pulls into his driveway. He goes in and he unlocks his, deadbolt. He walks in, he plops down on the couch and he just looks over and he's like, hey babe, I had a crazy day. And the camera just shifts over and it's the robot with like an apron on, like it just made dinner.
I love the length of time that it took to get that. I think that's the only way to do it. Like not even as a credit cookie. I want that to be the actual last
like we don't follow Rocky, we just stay with Paulie for an additional like 20 minutes.
For more than we've ever been
that
with
would
him
be
before.
amazing.
It's not only all of that, also Paulie like consistently has just made a bunch of money off of like things that Rocky has done on his own.
I like that that's in this movie too. That he's like,
that's
I got
also
some sponsorships, and then he comes. They're all wearing like normal robes, like normal Rocky robes, and he's got like a hat and a robe, and they all have like ads all over him.
Covered in advertising.
GoldenPalace.com.
GoldenPalace.com.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which I looked up.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Because it's on the chest of all the the card girls or whatever.
Number one online casino.
Oh, wow.
This is AJ Benza, who you guys might remember from E's Mysteries and Scandals. No? Nobody?
E's Mysteries and Scandals. Yes, I knew I recognized this guy.
Familiar.
He'd wear like a leather jacket, and he was like
it's like an Unsolved Mysteries kind of a thing.
No, he's like a tabloid journalist. And yeah, it was like sort of like, it was like revisiting scandalous tales of Hollywood's past or whatever.
Right.
Which guy are you talking about? Are you talking about the bearded guy or
the salt and
guy?
pepper guy?
Yeah.
Oh, the bearded guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The bald guy is like, I don't know who that guy is.
I don't know who that guy is either. But AJ Benz is super
look at
Italian.
This house is insane.
It's a fixer up.
Now her house is nice. It's the one next door.
Right, no, that's what I'm talking about.
Suffered a lot of fire damage. I think they share a wall, but
Yeah.
you know.
The
How
wall
long has it
inside is
been
all
burned
burnt.
out.
Shit, I was gonna say something and I can't remember. what
About
it was.
AJ Benza?
No, I was gonna talk about Mason Dixon again. How he's just such a forgettable villain, or if you can even call him that in this. Like, I mean, this whole movie felt like an exhibition fight to me. You know, it's just like all the dominoes are set up easily, like we said, no conflict, and it's also that he could just have this happy fight at the end that kind of reminds you of like the first movie, you know, and even down to the his adversary is just like a guy, you know. Hey, I don't really hate you. I just kind of want to fight. Like, we're helping each other out here. Like, they have no, like, you know, they needed like a scene together where Mason Dixon was like, I'm gonna fucking kill you in the
No,
ring.
but
or
they have the
something,
one
you know?
where he's like, they have that scene. It's just
Kind
before
of,
the
but
fight
it's
happens,
like-
where Mason Dixon's like, hey, don't fuck with me and I won't murder you. And Rocky's like, bring it on. And he's like, okay, fuck it. I mean,
And they kind of call back to that in the ring. He says like, I warned him. Now I'm gonna like turn
yeah,
up the
exactly.
heat kind of thing.
I think
yeah.
the problem is, I think they tried. I think they really made an effort to make Mason Dixon a good antagonist with his own arc. I think it's in the script. They were a little hamstrung by the fact that Tarver's not a great actor, and I wouldn't be surprised if they had this. I mean, he's not a bad actor, but he's not, you know, it's not good. And I wouldn't be surprised if they,
he lacks charisma.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not very
Like-
compelling.
like compared to like Mr. T
Yeah.
or Carl Weathers, but Mr. T
Ivan
wasn't an
Drago
actor when
even.
he was in Rocky 3, but the guy's just got the juice, you know. He's like, he's got it.
I don't see what he's doing as acting very much either. He's sort of just being on camera.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they made an effort with the character to get him there, because this is probably the most developed of any of Rocky's antagonists, except for Apollo Creed in the first movie and Drago maybe in the fourth one. And then Creed 2 is a movie that's very focused on the antagonist.
Yeah.
So then you're saying this is the weakest. You just said all the other ones are.
Well, no, I'm saying that no, all the other, like Rocky 2, Rocky 3, Rocky 5.
How would you rank his adversaries in terms of like, you know, like
Development
memorable
or skill, or there's a lot of ways to rank.
Yeah, if we're talking about
I'm talking like legacy, like in this series, you know, like
Clubber Lang's number 1.
okay.
Why was there no third fight between them? What did Clubber Lang do after he lost the fight to Rocky?
Well, yeah, that's the weirdest thing, is not that there's a lot of times when two great fighters fight and they only fight twice and then they never have a third match. But this happens twice with Rocky, where he fights Apollo Creed and Clubber Lang twice. They split both those fights and there's never a third fight to settle it, which is pretty rare, I think.
Yeah, in boxing, if there's two big fights and they're not the same result, there's usually a third one, because it's like
Big
in
money.
any other sport.
It's
It's
money,
like best
yeah.
two out of
Rubber
three.
match,
You
yeah.
know, like
Yeah, that is odd. I mean,
But I mean, how often can they have them fighting the same guys? They got to have new bad guys in there. But
yeah.
no, I would go Clubber Lang, and then I guess I would go Drago, only because we don't see Apollo win a lot, and then Apollo, and then Tarver. So or I should say Mason Dixon. So yeah,
Wait.
he's the worst one of all the opponents.
Apollo Creed is not the best opponent of Rocky.
No, I think the worst is Tommy Gunn. He's
Oh,
definitely
I wasn't even counting Tommy Gunn.
Exactly, you didn't even
It's an
remember
alley
him.
fight though.
Yeah. That's like, he's the least memorable for sure.
Oh, look at her face is all scrunched up because we're
Oh,
watching
yeah.
this.
Right?
We're
Yeah.
watching it projected onto a blanket.
She's so good. Like, I love that she's been so knocked down by life, and she still has like hopeful eyes and
Yeah, her
Heart.
performance is like very subdued. Like, she never really has a chance in this movie to like say anything that has emotional weight, or like anything that's like, you know, she doesn't emote.
there's that one part where she's like, I know I never say anything, but right now I'm gonna say something.
Yeah.
She really makes it work. Like that scene, I feel like that's the scene where he asks her to come work at the restaurant is really difficult for her part, because she is resistant to doing it, but is not gonna say why. And like that's that's how it's written.
That's
And-
another conflict. That's
Yeah.
like in the next scene she's working there.
Yeah.
Because she's not like beautiful. Is that
Yeah, that's like the implication is
or
like
that she's too trash
she's
or something?
she's too ugly or poor to work in his fancy restaurant.
I think
And-
it's one of those things where it's like she hasn't had a lot of good breaks.
Right.
And so
Right.
like someone telling her that she's gonna like
Oh,
and
the extras in this scene.
She hasn't had a lot of
Like,
oh yeah.
Oh my god! I'm glad you brought that up because I definitely wanted to point that out.
All the restaurant patrons, fantastic job.
When Paulie causes a scene at Rocky's restaurant,
A lot
the
of pointing.
extras are like gesticulating with their hands. They're not saying anything, but they're like looking at what's going on and like like pointing with their open fists. And,
Yeah.
like, it's like, oh my god, look at their like the implication is, oh, who's this guy? What is going on here? Oh, a disturbance, but like just with pantomime.
Yeah, not
Right.
no implication. Just
No.
like,
Did you guys read that the final fight of this movie was shot at an actual fight? They just like surprised the audience and they were like, "Hey,
Whoa.
we're gonna
Yeah.
film a Rocky movie and you get to be a part of it."
Well, you can see the signs up in the rafters for like what the actual fight and undercards were for
Right.
like where it was.
And then I read also that some of the shots that they use. So
Wait,
I
are
don't
we
know-
gonna go back to the scene where he's talking to little Marie and like why she doesn't want to take the job? Or I was like trying to like go into that and then we like switched it up.
continue. I didn't realize you were still meandering around your point.
I just didn't want to. I don't know. I think it's like two things. Like one, she hasn't had a lot of good breaks, so someone offering her something good, she doesn't trust it. And two, she hasn't had a lot of people that she can like just trust, right off the bat in her life either. So someone actually being like, "You can trust me, and I'm gonna give you like good things," is like something that doesn't make sense to her, right? Like that's what I read.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Okay.
By the way, the actress is named Geraldine Hughes, and I've only seen her. She hasn't been in a lot. She's
in one other big movie after this.
She's Irish. She was in Gran Torino.
That's it.
The year after this, or 2 years after this, she had a big role in that. And then she was in our USC classmate Edson Oda's.
Yes, 9 days.
Yeah, 9
yeah.
days. Yeah,
Oh, yeah, look at that.
So
That's
everyone
right.
should see that if they
Now I
can.
need to
It's-
watch it again and
it's a,
see her.
It's a good movie. Yeah, I forgot that she was even in that. But yeah, so
I love her.
How
So
long
she-
is that movie?
9 hours.
It's 1 hour for everything.
I was hoping that was the case.
I'm trying to get Edson on this show. He'll be our guest one
Yeah.
of these days.
We should have had him on for this episode. He could have told us all about Geraldine Hughes.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
You blew it, Matt.
Ah.
I'm just kidding.
What am I, chopped liver?
Oh man, have we run dry? Like, what are
No,
we talking about here?
We're just getting started.
I think
we were talking about Geraldine Hughes.
I think I ruined it.
Colin went backwards, which is
I did.
always death for a podcast.
That's
Yeah,
what I like
Even
totally.
for a couple of seconds.
I like going way back to something I said that I didn't feel like I got to say the whole thing.
That we all agreed on, and there's no
yeah.
Everyone
I feel
understood.
like Colin's that improviser. Like, if we were an improv troupe, like the idea is you're supposed to like yes and like keep going and like building momentum of the joke. And Colin would be that guy who's like, well, actually, before I wanted to say this.
We're all
one
yes
thing."
anding and Colin's butt waiting.
yeah.
But wait.
But wait.
He told me he can't show it to me, but he has a gun. Do you know what that's from?
No.
Oh, it's from The Office. When Michael goes to improv, he says they hate him at improv because he always tries to pull a gun. And then they tell him he can't say he has a gun. So then he whispers in another improver's ear and he just puts his hands up. And the coach is like, why are you putting your hands up? And he's like, he told me he can't show me, but he has a gun. So good.
But yeah, she's the reason he goes back in the ring.
Yeah, she gives. Yeah, this is a good speech too. This little pep talk she gives him.
She's being a little cavalier with this man's health, though. Like, she doesn't know that he's gonna come back like not brain dead.
Colin, just
She looks like Amy Poehler here.
Yeah, she does kind of.
Yeah,
Colin, just change the station.
No, she's really asking him to die.
yeah.
You've been beating this Rocky's health drum since the beginning here.
Yeah.
And you just need to drop it.
Someone has to. Someone has to do that. Like,
Do you realize that not only is the actor still alive, but the character is still alive a million movies later? Clearly, you were wrong. Just admit it.
I thought he was a ghost at the end of this.
The man is invincible.
I'm wrong, but like I don't want people out there to think that they are also invincible because they're not all movie characters.
You're one of those doctors from the what is it, second movie, third movie, where they say he can't fight again and they were wrong. He's one of those doctors that misdiagnoses him, takes valuable years away from his career. This is why he didn't listen to them ever, because he got bad medical advice from people like you.
It'd be funny if he had a scene where he went back to those doctors and he's like, "Hey, look, you were wrong." And they're like, "No, look at your face. Listen to the way you talk. This is what we were telling you about."
We nailed it.
Honestly, this movie should end with him like being studied by scientists for the rest of his life to like see how and why this is possible, like for a brain to undergo this kind of like thing and still continue to function.
Turns out there is no brain in there. It's just skull all the way from front to back.
Hey, what do you know? Oh, Duke. Oh my God, we haven't talked about Duke.
Finally, he's back. I hated that he's not in Rocky 5. I hate that so much. He's my favorite character.
He was the beginning of Rocky 5.
His scene is so good when he like cracks his neck and he gets all fucking excited about training.
That's a good one.
That was my favorite too.
That shit's awesome.
Tony Burton as Tony Duke.
The speech he's giving, he's like, "You're old as fuck.
Duke,
you can't do this.
I don't know.
We can't do this. So
forgot
you're just gonna lift."
Duke Evers, I think it is.
Oh yeah, Duke Evers.
But when he's like, you got to learn how to throw some hurting bombs or whatever.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
That whole speech was from the trailer. I remember is great.
Yeah,
so good.
The only way to beat this guy is speed, and you're too slow. So you're gonna have to outlast him, and you don't have the endurance.
I love that character because like he is like the ultimate trainer. Like when he is training the boxer, he is like training as hard as the boxer. Like he's like working that hard. Like he's not actually doing the training, but he is just like bringing that energy.
True. I'm just watching this Antonio Tarver performance and being.
This was his scene. This was his chance to be a villain.
This is the moment where he gets up at the press conference and yells at the audience and gets pissed off. But it's like that takes like a certain emotional uninhibitedness that a non-actor would struggle with, and he does. You know, like he's better in, the best scenes with him are the scenes where somebody else is giving him advice and he's listening,
Yeah, like he goes to the old gym and he talks to his old trainer or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, like in that scene that we just saw, he could, what the questions they're asking him could have like angered him enough that he stands up and he's like, "I'll beat this punk ass bitch," or like, said something, and then Rocky stands up and they could have like a little scuffle kind of right there, and like that would have set it up.
It needed to be more physical,
yeah.
Unless like he gets like a monologue tirade, and really it should have been like, "I'm gonna beat this old ass whatever," and then just storms away, or or Paulie stands up and he goes into, and then he knocks Paulie to the ground, and then Paulie dies. And we're all like, and Rocky's like, "No, I must avenge him," and we're all like, I don't know.
Do you
gotta?
Why does Rocky fight? Where is that?
Ever?
Like
he liked it.
He just liked it. He just
He was sort of a rough and tumble like guy from the streets, like growing up in this like dingy kind of like, I don't know what the name of the area is.
He's from a bad neighborhood. His actual job in the first one was like a low-level mob enforcer. Or not mob, but like a low-level enforcer for a bookie who may have been mob.
But he's a local boxer too. He like boxes in like, low level.
Yeah, so he kind of did always do it because he does like the sport.
Yeah, even though he doesn't like the part of the sport where you avoid getting punched.
Yeah.
That's clear. He likes the punching, and he likes the getting punched directly in the face. Those are his two favorite parts of boxing. All the stuff where you avoid getting punched, which is
not his thing, yeah.
Pretty big part of the sport, but it's not his thing at all.
This is the scene.
This is the scene, the big scene. And here's Milo acting.
You're right, though. It all changes right now.
Yeah, this is
the moment.
It's such a great. It's just so. The writing and the performance are great.
Yeah, it's really good.
This kid's gonna be the best in the world. Yeah.
But it didn't work out that way.
I like
every day.
I found it frustrating that this kid is whining about anything at all, though. And like that is kind of the idea of like that is part of what Rocky is telling him is like you really have nothing to complain about, kid. Like you had a lot growing up, and like you also like have done pretty well for yourself. Like,
but he's like depressed, and he's stuck in his head, and he's stuck in the numbers, and he's stuck in his corporate job, so he can't see that. But then right now his dad's waking him up,
and he's hanging out with all these finance bros who are awful.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating to see him, like, I feel like up to this point in the movie, it's frustrating to see that this kid is, like, complaining about anything at all. You know, I'm just...
Well, they do kind of paint a picture of, like, every time he's on screen, like, someone is referring to him as, like, Rocky, this is Rocky's baby, Rocky's son, or whatever. And then, like, when
But
Rocky,
his life is good, though.
But it's like they're all shit-talking him. Like, you only got this because of your dad. And
and his boss is like leaving him.
Yeah.
And it's just like everything about his... And it's true. It's like his dad casts a big shadow. But like that's what's so great about this speech is he's like, you can, blame me or blame whoever for, why things didn't work out for you. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. Finding somebody to blame isn't going to help you.
It's a beautiful speech. I love this.
Good dad. Good dad.
His face looks extra warped right now. We should say we're in my garage and we're watching this. I have a little projector and we've got like a sheet hanging on the garage door, and it's like not a perfectly taut sheet, so there's like some lumpiness to it, and it, like whenever
every once in a while, I like to call it like comically lumpy. Every once in a while.
I hate it when you like don't tell the listeners that we are like shrunken down talking to them from inside of their speakers.
Stop ruining the illusion, man.
I really want them to suspend their disbelief and believe that there's like some way for me to shrink myself down and be transported into like whatever their device is and be talking to them from inside of it.
Point
stopping
taken.
The show dead.
Point taken, Colin. All right, this show needs an injection of life. So we are going to play top 4.
Yes.
All right. This is going to be an interesting one because I looked at all the players.
Is it Milo
in this film? No. He has 2 TV shows and then 2 movies that I've never heard of a single one of them.
Oh no.
Yeah, so it can't be. If you want to take a shot at the 2 TV shows, we'll just do an impromptu. They're pretty obvious.
Well,
wait. Megan, do you know what top 4 is?
Well, I heard that one episode once.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to play top 4, and we're going to play top 4 for a cameo player in this movie, and that person is Mr. Mike Tyson.
Oh,
Iron Mike Tyson.
Smart move.
Former champ.
Smart move. Angle the thing because I don't want to.
Yeah, don't cheat. One of these is very hard.
What do we? Wait, I don't actually. Are we guessing?
We are guessing what IMDb lists as Mike Tyson's top 4 movie appearances.
I have one guess.
Well, wait.
Oh.
Well, you get to go first because you are the.
You can guess this movie.
The guest.
Also.
Yeah.
The Hangover.
That is correct.
Ding.
All right.
Oh, sorry. I don't have to do that with my mouth.
No.
That's what you did when you pressed that button.
Who wants to go next?
Okay, I'll go. I'll say The Hangover Part 2.
That is also correct.
Yes.
I'm going to say Rocky Balboa.
You are right. 3 for 3, guys. Now, here is where it becomes, I would say, difficult to impossible. You guys are not going to get this. I feel like we should just go straight to the hint round.
All right.
And I'm not even sure what my hint would be.
Oh, no.
This is the one reason I didn't want to do Mike Tyson, but literally everyone else is worse.
Give us a hint.
Okay. My hint is this is a foreign film starring an actor named Donnie Yen. And if you know who Donnie Yen is, you've got a decent chance of guessing.
A Hong Kong?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
Is it one of the... Wait, it's not my turn. It's Megan's turn.
It's Megan's turn.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Is it one of the like Ip Men movies?
Oh my God. I feel like I should just give it to you just because you broadly said it's one of the Ip Man movies.
Yes.
And it is. It is.
Yes.
It is the 3rd Ip Man movie.
Oh,
wow.
That's pretty impressive. I am wowed. I wouldn't have gotten that one.
I know who Donnie Yen is.
It's just called Ip Man 3?
Ip Man, yeah.
Yeah.
I've never seen any of
What is an
Ip
Ip?
Man.
What I don't
It's the man is an Ip.
What does that mean?
I don't know. I don't know. I saw the first one and I don't remember if they explain the Ipness of the man.
What makes you so Ip?
We are at the montage portion of the movie, I should
Yes.
say.
Very minor montage in this one.
Wait,
Oh, is it?
Is there a scene where somebody goes, "Hey man, are you it?"
So in Rocky 4, like
And
the
they play that song,
trajectory of this
What Is,
series has
yep.
gone like Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it kind of like goes like this. 4 is like the pinnacle. The montage is like 9 minutes long or something. There's like full needle drops in that movie where they like you're straight up watching a music video.
Yes. That
And-
movie is the one that's a third montages, a third fight scenes, and a third basic plot stuff. I guess.
film.
Robot.
Yeah, robot sex, implied robot sex.
Robots.
Oh,
Sold.
drinking those
Oh, yeah.
eggs. Oh, yeah.
Is that a reference?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does that in the first movie. This movie is just trying to remind you of the first movie. It's trying to like go off on a note that
Which
is-
you know, if you're Stallone and what you're trying to do is right the ship after shitty Rocky 5, what better way to do it than just nostalgic callbacks to the best movie in the franchise?
yeah.
Oh yeah, especially
punching
the
meat.
punching the meat. It's
Yeah.
like so unnecessary at this
Yes.
point. Especially
Which-
because Paulie got fired from here. They're like,
I know.
they're doing breaking and
Breaking and entering.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're doing breaking and entering.
they are, and they're just like they're trying to paint over it with the fact that we're in a montage. Like montage doesn't excuse crime.
I have to say though, one thing that you got to say about Stallone, not only a good actor, but also just always really in good shape. You know, like I'm
Yeah.
always very impressed by. Like I was wowed by his one-handed one-handed pull-ups in that one movie, and in this one, at his age, still being able to do all this shit is really impressive. And he's got that like old man physique where he's like kind of filled out, and he's got like old man muscles.
Yeah.
Yes.
But his muscles, they still have like blue squiggly lines on
Yeah, oh
them.
yeah, he's very vascular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And old man strength is a real thing.
That's from the human growth hormone.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
He
Oh yeah, I'm
definitely
not
took
saying he didn't have a
something
little
at
help.
some point. Yeah.
My hot take on this movie, super inspiring because he's a writer, director, actor, and he's been working on the same film for 30 years, right?
That's right.
And that's how I feel.
He
There you go.
created one of the most iconic movie characters of all time, and he's just been living in it for like how many decades now.
Yeah.
And then they like doing this, like reminding you of the first Rocky movie, was done much better. Like a few years later, when they brought him back for Creed, which is also kind of like trying to make you think of a parallel between that and the first Rocky movie.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the smartest thing they've done with Creed is the first one being so closely tethered to the first Rocky movie, and then the sequel being so closely tethered to like the second most popular
Yeah.
Rocky film, the fourth one.
What if the new one that's coming out is like a direct sequel to Rocky 5?
Yeah, he's gonna fight Tommy Gunn's kid.
Tommy Gunn.
Before Tommy Gunn died of AIDS, he had a kid. That kid is
Johnny Pistol.
Johnny Pistol, the street brawler. You're gonna have to fight him in an alley and hit each other with trash cans.
Flaming
what?
trash cans that Frank Stallone is singing around.
Do. Take it back.
That actually sounds pretty good. Green light. No, yeah, I don't know, but like, okay, let's say you're gonna delete one of the movies from Rocky 1 through 6.
5.
Is it? Okay, what?
What is this, a trick question? What is,
Yeah,
what are you
yeah.
talking
I'm
about?
gonna make a bold claim. I'd say you get rid of this one and you keep Rocky 5 because you need bad movies to know when movies are good.
I don't know if that's true. I feel
I
like
don't
it's
know
not
if
true.
that's true. Do bad movies make good movies better?
I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. Although if every movie was great,
Yeah. See.
all right.
See.
Maybe you-
Oh, this is the kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where she holds the picture of Adrian up in front of her face so that he can
says,
get into
Kiss
it.
me, Rocky. I'm Adrian.
That's so fucked up.
He's like, no, don't do a voice. You're taking me out of it.
She didn't talk much. Does it bother any of you guys that this movie isn't called Rocky 6?
Yeah, of course.
That kills me. It's like they got the whole Roman numeral thing going throughout the whole series with no like subtitles or anything, just nice and clean. Roman numeral 2, Roman numeral 3, 4, 5, and then this one's called Rocky Balboa.
What if they called this one Rocky VI, but it was like VEEEYE?
I don't.
or VEE, and then like a human eye.
Right.
Yeah, human eye emoji.
Well, this is right before he did John Rambo too, right? Didn't he do like?
Yeah, he actually. I read he was supposed to do Rambo first, but then this one got greenlit.
So that's where he got the idea. He was like, "Oh, John Rambo. You know what? I should do that for Rocky instead of calling it Rocky 6."
Yeah, they came out like within a year or two of each other, and they did the same thing. And
reliving
now
the glory
every
days.
movie kind of does that, right?
Yeah.
Like, or everything. Like, if it came out now, it would be called Rocky.
Yeah.
They like
Yeah,
no,
they would just
that's
call it Rocky,
Yeah.
and it would have to be like Rocky 2022
Yeah,
to differentiate it from.
Ooh, what if we get some kind of like Stallone multiverse thing where we get like Balboa?
someone makes a sequel that ignores all the other sequels, and it's just a direct like sequel to the
It's
first
a coma
movie.
dream, but everyone recasts it.
Yeah, but no, like in one universe, Rocky Balboa and John Rambo are the same person, but they're not Sylvester
Yeah.
Stallone. They
It's a
are them.
multiverse.
Yeah,
I think you have to then de-age Sylvester Stallone and have him play them.
right. Yeah,
I like this promotional package that they got, and I love that they use actual Antonio Tarver clips for Mason Dixon's fights. And then we just see the usual montage of old Rocky movies for Rockies. Oh, I just looked this up, and the guy who's always hanging out with AJ Benza, Lou DiBella,
Yeah, the bald guy.
yes, is an actual boxing promoter named Lou DiBella.
Oh, there you go.
So that's actually just an extended cameo.
and I think all of these people, all the like announcers
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, are all real
Max Kellerman
announcers.
and all those guys.
The guy
Those
on
are
the far left is just like constantly trying to take shots at Rocky for being old and like
Yeah.
this guy right here.
Yeah.
I don't know what this guy's name is, but he is like going after Rocky.
That's a good line.
Yeah, call it an execution. He's constantly saying Rocky is going to die and like being real casual and thinking he's funny about it.
Oh, is he the one that says like, "Oh, what's his specialty? Pounded chicken"? Or-
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't
he's
go to
just
that
going after
restaurant or whatever. I go to Dick.
that is Larry Merchant, who I guess must have a thing about hating Rocky.
And it said Stu Nahan is in this movie too.
Yeah, I think he's just like I think he calls the simulated fight.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, which is actually, did you guys? I don't know if you guys read this, but that was actually based on the real Rocky Marciano.
They mention it in this movie. Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky Marciano Muhammad Ali fight, which never happened, but was. I think it was interesting because I always knew about the super fight. It was called a super fight. And I'd heard of it before, but I didn't realize they actually got those guys. Rocky Marciano, who had retired like 4 years earlier, I think, and Muhammad Ali, who was banned from boxing for
dodging,
protesting
draft.
military service. Yeah.
Yes.
And they got them together and actually shot the rounds of them like sparring with each other. So it wasn't a real fight, but they like, I don't know what I thought it was, but like they actually sort of simulated the fight and had them pretend to fight each other. And apparently Marciano won all the fights they showed in the U.S., but then overseas they had Ali win.
Oh, really? That's
Yep.
interesting.
How do you guys feel about how this fight is shot? The shooting style, how it like looks like we're actually watching something on pay-per-view.
It was a little jarring at first, but then I kind of got into it mostly because it made it look more like a real boxing match in a way that I thought was.
But it makes it feel like less
cinematic. But did you notice
The
that
editing.
Did you notice that during the fight though, it becomes more? I mean, I think they still keep the same kind of high def camera thing going on.
It changes style.
The editing style changes, and it becomes more in the ring and less the TV. Like it's sort of gradual, but by the final round, you're kind of in the ring with them in a more traditional cinematic sense. So I kind of thought that it was cool that they make it look like we're watching the real Rocky fight at the beginning, and then eventually segue back into, okay, yeah, just fucking with you. It's a movie.
Are his shorts velvet, like instead of that silky stuff? That doesn't make sense to me. That would get weighed down with the sweat.
Yeah, sometimes you just got to make sacrifices for fashion. Colin, you of all people should know this.
I love his outfit.
Collins? Yeah, I know.
This is the only movie where he doesn't wear the American flag shorts, right?
Oh, right.
Right, since the...
But black and yellow were his
Third
colors as
one?
the Stallion. Where's the Stallion logo?
Well, but black and yellow was the colors as a stallion, but his first fight he was wearing red and white.
Yeah, white and red. But he was like really poor then.
I do like the black and yellow though. It looks really sharp.
What
Yeah, it's
song
my
does it
college
come out to?
colors.
High Hopes.
Yeah, High Hopes.
It makes me think of the Simpsons episode when it's like, why can't we be friends?
Also weird that all of usually when people come out with their fighters, all their shirts say Rocky on them, but I think
except for Paulie's that says Paulie.
shirt says Paulie on it, which is like totally like what the fuck? Is that like a wardrobe mistake, or is that like a something in the character?
That's in character.
Yeah.
So there's Mike Tyson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, go for it, Rock.
We can do it.
So later on, when the fight's over and everybody goes into the ring, and like Rocky's hugging little Marie, is that her name?
Little Marie.
He's hugging her and he's hugging his son or whatever, and you could tell those scenes were shot later, like not during this actual fight, because you could tell that it's sort of like a green screen thing. Like they're like lit differently. I'll point it out to you guys, but they use plates in the background from a different boxing match that's not this one, and it's actually a boxing match that Sylvester Stallone was there for as an audience member.
Does he cameo in his own movie?
He cameos in his own movie.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's like impossible to point him out, but like hypothetically, he is in the shot.
That's
wow,
pretty cool.
That's cool. Remember when Sylvester Stallone was in the Terminator in Last Action Hero?
Yes, which we still need to cover that movie.
We should. Yeah, he's in really good shape for like an old ass man.
How old is he?
They say he's in his 50s, like the character is. I don't know what his exact age was in the.
So this came out in anybody want to do math? This came out in 2006, and Sylvester Stallone was born in 1946. So that math should be easy for somebody who's good at it.
Yeah, 60 years.
60 years. So he's 60. He was 60 years old when this movie came out.
That's insane.
That is insane. Oh, that's actually, now I'm like disturbed by that. That's like that's like disgusting. What kind of freak looks like that at 60? That's just wrong.
The whole premise is disturbing. This 60-year-old man's gonna fight a 20-something-year-old man.
But also
in a fist fight,
makes me wonder about like
To the death.
Yeah. Makes me wonder about this HGH they're telling me is so bad for me and I shouldn't take it. It's like, wait a minute. He's not even dead yet. He's still alive today.
I like how you're saying this like this is like a real dilemma for you. Like you've actually been offered HGH like within this past week and had to think it over.
Yeah, and I declined it because I was told it was bad. I could be looking like that right now.
Who's
Like
trying
him?
to push?
That's
Who's
quite a
trying to
side
push
effect.
HGH on you?
Here's the thing. Antonio Tarver doesn't look as jacked as Sylvester Stallone, probably because he wasn't doing enough HGH.
Yes,
As a
probably.
professional boxer, he gets tested for this shit. We should all be doing HGH. We should all look like Sly.
Right? Absolutely.
Their acting here is very good.
Megan, do you agree on the HGH
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah, where do you
let's
stand
do
on
it.
HGH?
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, I'm not talking about like a steroid cycle. Those things are dangerous. But HGH, clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
It's safer, right?
I assume so. I mean, I would like if Sylvester Stallone dropped dead right after this movie, I'd be like, well, everyone stay away from that HGH. It's probably not. You look good, but it comes at a price. But he's gonna outlive me. And
Barry Bonds just went to the Hall of Fame, didn't he? I mean, that's not relevant to this.
Yeah, if he's 60 here, this movie was what 15 years old already, right? Stallone is old, man. Holy shit.
Yes, he's very old.
I guess that makes sense. Yeah, Schwarzenegger's like 80, I think, right?
Arnold Schwarzenegger's not 80 years old.
Or
That's
he's
insane.
I mean, like,
79
I'd
or
like to
something.
be in really good shape
We're looking
when
it
I'm
up.
60, but I don't know if I want to be like really good shape and still that bulky when I'm 60. That seems, I don't know. Maybe I'll start bulking like mid 40s and I'll just get bulk.
Start bulking.
Maybe.
Just trying to decide when I start bulking.
Yeah. I'm gonna start
Now
bulking
these extras are
mid-40s.
having a great time because they didn't know they were going to be movie extras.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger's only 74 years old.
74?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like the same exact age practically.
He's like maybe a year younger than Sly.
Wow. It's crazy to think that these mega people are so old. Like in my mind, they're still like, even watching this is hard for me because I feel like the way Rocky looks in Rocky 5 is the way I think of him all the time. Like the cliffhanger Sylvester Stallone
Yeah.
era, like early 90s.
Yeah.
That's what he looks like. And same with Schwarzenegger. He looked his best like around that time too.
Yep. It's funny. You can see that they've clearly loaded the front 5 rows with like extras that are getting paid to cheer and act like they're enthusiastic. And behind them, every once in a while, the camera will slow down enough, and you'll see that the crowds, like the deeper crowds, are kind of not doing as much. But if you watch the extras in these rows, I'm just noticing it now.
Yeah.
They're also not great actors.
Yeah.
They're just supposed to cheer and yell things, and you can already see them trying a little too hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of weird shots of Duke. Like, you never see his face straight, like, dead on. They're always, like, kind of shooting from the side or behind him. And, like, I don't know. There's a couple of weird shots.
It looks like he was like when he agreed to be in the movie, he was like, yeah, like I just don't want any close-ups, because it looks like they're specifically avoiding close-ups. They're not trying to avoid putting him on camera, but they're not putting him in a close-up. Like, he's always in a two-shot.
Maybe he got like a Mike Tyson face tattoo and they're trying to shoot around it.
Yeah, props.
I bet it's just like, because he's not a huge actor. I bet he just was saying, like, I bet it was just an agreement he made. He's like, yeah, I'd love to be in the movie, but you know, like, I'm feeling
but you could only shoot me from the back of my head.
No, but like, you know, maybe he's had some kind of insecure feelings, or he just thought, like, you know, like,
even the scene when he's giving the speech about hurting bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like kind of shot from a low angle. He's in shadow.
You know what it was?
It's a full body shot.
He had his lips done and they kind of botched it. They kind of they overplumped.
Is that
them.
true? Because that seems possible.
Yeah. He seems like the type.
It seems like you're making it up, but like it also seems like something that could be the truth.
Like, I do not believe that actor Tony Burton had his lips done for the Rocky movie.
No, but like it could
But
be
it's
something
possible.
where he's like, yeah, like I got a zit.
That's like Wesley Snipes, except the exact opposite.
It's like, I want you to
do not zoom in on the zit. And Wesley Snipes is like, you can shoot my zit. I can be the stunt zit for his zit.
Stunt zit. The zit's a character. We're referencing Passenger 57.
The most famous
Yeah.
pimple in the history of movies.
There's a clear pimple on Wesley Snipes in that film.
And if you want to hear more about that, spend $1 a month to tune into our Patreon account.
Relatable content.
Where we talked about it for like almost 2 hours. It's almost all we talked about that entire movie.
Yeah, I feel like Colin didn't represent it very well. It's not just a pimple. It's like a whitehead.
It's the greatest cinematic pimple in history.
Oh, there's a close up. There was a close up of Duke right there.
Yeah, I'm not saying that there's not any.
You know what I think it was? I think they might have deep faked him. I think he was like, I'll be in the movie, but I'm not leaving home. So you just come shoot me.
Props.
I think there's something on
onto some other.
I literally think there's something on the left side of his face that he's uncomfortable with, because
Mike
we're only
Tyson
seeing him
face
from the right
tattoo.
side. Yeah, maybe it's a face tattoo. It could be a zit. I think we should go deeper into talking zits.
Did you guys? What was your acne situation in high school?
You know, moderate, like, you know, not bad, like not totally clear, but you know, like not a problematic scenario.
At the time, I would say terrible, and in retrospect, probably better than most.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, it feels worse than it is always. Like,
I would always
in the
get like
moment.
one big one, and I have like really fair skin, so like you can see it. If I had a bright red one, it was like right on my forehead. You know, I always like wanted to wear a hat or a headband or something to like try to hide it.
It's like, why are you walking around with a headband?
Yeah, no, that's
this
exactly.
is my new look for a couple of days.
Yeah. You know, it's high school. I'm like, you know, trying something out. This is my new look.
Well, I hated the ones that were like somewhere where it's not just that it was like you get one of like the like side of your chin or something, that's fine or whatever. But when you had one that was like the tip of your nose,
I had
like,
a giant red one in my nose, like Rudolph.
right, exactly, or like the direct center of your forehead, like a third eye, and it's like there's no way, like you could ignore a zit on somebody else when you're looking at them, and it's just like off to the side or something. But when it's like dead center,
you can't make
and
eye
you're talking,
contact.
you're just making zit contact at
Right.
that point. You're just zeroing in on it. You can't not look.
There's also like that whole like, depending on where the zit is, like greatly affects the amount of pain you feel with
Yes,
it.
yes, or
There's
the
also that.
poppability,
And the poppability, of course.
You ever get one on like the inside, like tip of your nose?
Oh yeah, those are.
Oh,
those are
no.
painful, but sometimes really easy to pop.
Have you ever
sometimes,
have-
not all the time.
Have you ever got any in like the ear area where
Yeah.
you just have to like smash your head against something and hope it'll pop?
Oh,
eventually?
that reminds me. I got cauliflower ear one. Oh, I guess I hurt my ear a lot, and I was scared that I was gonna get
That's a
cauliflower
boxing
ear.
story.
It is a boxing story.
You're right.
We were
Yeah.
taking a lot of blows to the ear.
No, I was just very drunk and young and fell.
Nice.
But I was Googling cauliflower ear, and I was like, oh my God, this is my life.
I have this. I definitely have that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the internet is dangerous.
That honestly, like I don't know, like people our age, I feel like once we unlocked the possibilities of WebMD, we all became like hypochondrial and like convinced that we could look up a disease and know for sure that we had it and we were gonna die of it like tomorrow.
I'm not sure if hypochondrial is a word, but I suspect it is, and I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful.
That is a word.
It probably is. Yeah, no, that's true. And I mean, I think I always have to like balance that against my natural inclination because of the way I was raised to dismiss any injury or illness as like, it'll get better eventually. Like I've had like a broken hand for like a year where I couldn't like twist a doorknob, but I was like, what am I gonna do? Get hand surgery? They can't fix this.
So what'd you do?
So I just waited until it felt better. It took like a year and a half.
Wow.
I just didn't open doors with my right hand for a year and a half. But it was like, but that's
But what about
That's what the other hand's for.
Right. No, you're gonna take it blue. I gotta say, it was
worst improviser. See,
it was, but it was a very specific injury. Whatever that little bone is, you got lots of bones in your hand, and you only use some of them for some things. And this was literally only used for twisting doorknobs. This is a small bone in my hand that really only came into play when I had to twist a doorknob, and I would remember like, oh,
only
shit.
used for knobs. Got it.
Yes, only used for knobs. But yeah, so now it's like, I mean, I should definitely get some of these moles that are growing checked out.
Yep.
And I won't because I don't know, because that's just not something that we take seriously. And but I know but I've got to balance
Who's
that.
we?
I don't know. People in my family.
Oh.
right.
But like I've got to balance
Me and my
that
moles.
between like going to WebMD and being like,
they're talking now.
Oh, that definitely looks like one of the ones that's dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, that one looks
Yeah.
like one of the ones that turns into a separate person.
Right.
Right. No, like that's speaking of family, this has become like a not favorable dynamic with the talking to my mom thing of like, yeah, I looked up what's going on WebMDB and it says it could be this, and she's like, don't look at the internet, don't look at it at all, you're just gonna think you're gonna die. And I'm like, well, but I have to do something.
As she's watching like YouTube, like conservative
And-
rabbit holes, like
Also, you called it WebMDB.
I did.
Yes.
it merged with IMDb. You didn't hear?
WebMDB.
You can look up your favorite actors and find out you have like AIDS.
Yeah, like
Yeah, who you have the
depending on
same
what
problems
movies,
as.
depending on what movies you like, they know what disease you're gonna die of.
It explains what every actor died from.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, like eventually they're gonna compile enough data on us that like once they know what movies we like, they're gonna know how and when we're gonna die.
Yeah.
And I'm not being paranoid at all.
My mom's the same way. When you say things like, don't look at the internet, it's just gonna make you worried about stuff. That's exactly what she sounds like, and for probably the exact same reasons.
Yes.
Like if it doesn't come from some fringe blog, she doesn't believe it. But at the same time, I think when it comes to like WebMD and neuroses about it, I kind of agree with her.
Yeah.
Not for the same reasons, but it's true. It's like that shit will make you like freak out about stupid shit.
Colleen always thinks she has COVID for everything. She's like, oh, I have a slight tickle in the back of my throat. I definitely have COVID. I'm like, can you smell stuff? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, then you don't have COVID. She's like, yeah, but I don't know. I like saw a person from a distance. Like maybe that was, maybe they passed
On
it to
TV.
me. Yeah, on TV. Exactly.
I saw somebody with COVID on the news.
My fingernails are growing. I have COVID.
Right. Yeah. It's like, okay.
Yeah, that's like when I had COVID a few weeks ago, it was literally like, this could be the flu or it could be COVID. And the only way I would have known is that I got a test. And the only reason I got the test was to know if I should like quarantine for the full however many days that they recommend, or if I was like, oh no, just the flu, I can get everybody sick. No big deal.
This actually reminds me. So Maya had a doctor's appointment today, and she had to get the chickenpox vaccine, which is crazy to me. Like I feel like that came and went. Like in our lifetime, there was a chickenpox vaccine. No one talks about it. It wasn't like a big deal. It's just like, yeah, it's a thing now. Like, do you remember when we were kids? Like, I had the chicken pox. Did you guys have the chicken pox?
I think I did, yeah.
I didn't realize until you just started talking about it what you were talking about. I was like, oh yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't have chickenpox vaccine. We had chickenpox parties.
That's
We
right.
had chickenpox parties.
right.
Yeah. I remember
wow.
having the chickenpox. I remember like you take like an oatmeal bath. You remember that?
I never did that. I feel like when I had chickenpox, like it wasn't like nearly as severe as like the horror stories I had heard, you know,
Well,
of like having to wear oven mitts because you're gonna like tear your own skin off, kind of stuff. It's like, no, I'm just like itchy, and I think I'll make it.
so I had chickenpox. My uncle, who was an adult at the time, had chickenpox, and it was terrible. And I think I got it from him around the holidays, around Christmas, and he had it really bad because usually when you're an adult,
It is
it's
bad.
worse.
Yeah.
It's like
Right.
shingles. Or
I
something,
can't
right?
remember.
Well, shingles is what I'm afraid of because once you've had chickenpox, you could someday get shingles, and
Yeah.
shingles is worse.
I think I can't remember how old I was. I was like 6 or 7, and the doctor said I had the worst case of chickenpox that a kid had ever had. He was like, I would expect this in a grown-up, but like this is terrible.
What?
And it was like I was on the couch for like a
Sorry,
week.
we're not mean. I didn't mean to like laugh. So it's just
no,
funny that like
The
that's
worst
such a-
case any kid has ever had.
No, the worst
so
case
weird.
that he'd ever seen.
Oh, okay.
Like a kid. Yeah, it wasn't like I'm not in medical books, but you know, that was the doctor said like usually kids don't have it that bad. This is like what I'd expect of a grown up that had chickenpox because it was just they were all over my body. They were super itchy. And I had like all the illness symptoms of it too, where like I had like the sore throat and the exhaustion and all the other stuff. I was like knocked on my ass for like a week and had to not scratch, and I was just drinking ginger ale nonstop. Yeah, it was awful. I don't really remember it that much because I think I was probably delirious for half the time.
Wow.
But I just remember it being just terrible.
Wow, I definitely got the impression that you were about to like start talking about how you were on like national news as like the
Worst case.
worst
The
chickenpox.
worst- How would they even quantify that? This guy has more chickenpox per square inch than anyone in recorded history. He basically is a chickenpox.
You're in like the Guinness Book of Records for chicken.
It's like the newscast, you know, like whenever they're like looking at you, like talking to you on the news, then there's like the picture that appears like over their shoulder. It's just a picture of like Harris's head on a chicken's body.
You guys can look it up. It's on WebMDB.
WebMDB.
Some famous.
Top 4 chickenpox. Harris McCabe.
Speaking of IMDb, actually, if you look yourself up on IMDb right now, the three of us, you'll see that License to Watch is on there, and
God.
Really?
Really?
yep, it's now like
My
one of your
greatest
credits.
accomplishments.
Yes,
I have actual credits on IMDb though. I don't need this shit.
I do.
What do you say we rate this movie? I think we've said all we need to say about this.
We could. Definitely could. Karis McCabe. That's not me.
Karis. Harris.
Wait.
McCabe.
I don't know what Karis McCabe has done.
Father Karis.
It's a woman, right?
Karis, yes.
Yeah.
Actress, Wonder Woman 1984.
Well,
One of the Amazon athletes.
Ooh.
Nice.
Her only credit. Come on, Karis. Get to work.
Her only credit.
I went to high school with a girl named Karis.
Karis?
Oh no, she was a C, I think.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Oh, my God. All right.
Wait, I'm not for sure on that. It might have been K.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, yeah. Okay,
I hope
we're
I
ready
get
to rate this thing?
fact-checked on that.
Yeah, you want to go first?
I feel like I always go first, but I can go
Do
first
you?
again.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll go first. God, I always wish I knew what I rated the previous ones.
Oh, I can help you. If you just start talking, I'll
Yeah.
I'll get it.
So, see, he fades away and turns into a ghost.
yeah.
Yeah.
He was never really here.
No, I think
I thought
he's
that was
gained-
a glitch.
No, here's what it is. I'm gonna explain it for all of us.
Good, because this will affect my rating.
Okay, good.
Do they do this in all the credits? Have
No.
people do the Rocky
No, this
thing?
is very odd.
No, it's
So
usually
stupid.
just bad artwork.
The credits, so dumb.
Yeah.
Well, like, okay, about the credits. Before I go into the fading away
Yes,
thing,
sure.
about the credits, the message is that because we saw in Rocky 2 that when Rocky runs around the city, all of the children of Philadelphia follow him around.
Yep. Like the
The,
Pied
the
Piper.
message of this credits where a bunch of
Oh, these kids
children
do not know how to punch,
and
by the way.
people are all
Oh,
running
she-
up the
she kinda has
stairs.
pretty good
The
punches.
message says that we are all Rocky's children.
Philly fanatic.
including the Philly fanatic.
Yes. I mean, that was Rocky when Rocky fucked the robot.
Yeah.
That's where the Philly
That's
fanatic,
how the Philly
that's where
fanatic
the
was
Philly
born.
fanatic came from. Yep.
The Philly fanatic was born when Rocky Balboa fucked a robot. Okay, anyways, so Rocky, because we've seen that through his like special brain damage powers, he is able to like cross over in his hallucinations into the realm of the dead so that he can experience communication with Adrian and Mickey. We know that he's gained the power to like go into the other realm. He's basically like a sort of a boxing Ghost Rider sort of type of figure where he can go into the realm of the beyond by choice because of the powers that he's gained through his brain damage.
Is this canon?
Obviously.
He was shot with a cannon.
In the head. He leaned into it.
Harris, you gave... Let's see. I don't have your Rocky 1 score for some reason, but I think you gave it a 10.
I think I did too.
Yeah. And then you gave Rocky 2 a 7, Rocky 3 a 6, Rocky 4 an 8. Wow. Rocky 5 a 5. And yeah, that's it.
Oh, I was generous with all my scores, I think. Okay. Yeah, I actually enjoyed this movie. I don't know if that's a hot take or not. This is a fun one, and a lot of it's the nostalgia. I think so much of this, as an independent movie, so much of this movie just doesn't fucking work. So I'm curious what Megan's analysis of this thing is going to be, because it's very on the nose. Like I said, the conflicts are introduced and resolved almost as quickly. Yeah, it's. I think the acting varies wildly from really, really great to kind of shitty. And it is just kind of a nostalgia factory for old Rocky movies. That having been said, I like the old Rocky movies. I've just seen them all, which I think makes a big difference.
Hold up, I'm going to pause you for a second. You see this shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
They got this when he didn't know that they were. He was just they were on like a break or something. And he was just standing there, and they were like, "Yo, we got to film this," and they just filmed him without him knowing.
Yeah, they filmed him without him knowing, but he had to kind of be like, I hope they're getting this.
It's because they had to show you he's alive still.
Yeah,
Right.
after he
he crossed
Force
back.
Ghost faded away. Yeah.
Came back.
Yeah, so this is definitely a satisfying ending to the Rocky saga. I think Creed adds to the story a little more. But I mean, this is a great way for him to go out, and much better than Rocky 5. So I think it accomplished Sly's goal.
Did you say that Creed gives credence to the...
Oh, don't even. I'm going to cut you off right there because you didn't know where you were going.
I had no more.
Yeah. And I think, I liked it. I think the highlights for me are really all like the big speeches. The speech she gives him in the van, the speech he gives the kid, Duke's speech about the hurt bombs, just good stuff throughout. And that's why I can't give it a 5, because apparently I gave Rocky 5 a 5 for some reason, which I really have to look back on and figure out how the hell that happened. So I'm going to give it a 6, because I feel like this is about Rocky 3 levels. So 6 Timothy Dolphins.
Beautiful.
Special thanks to goldenpalace.com.
Filmed with Claremont cameras. All right. Yeah, so the movie's over. Megan.
This is a work of fiction. The characters, incidents, and locations portrayed, and the names herein are fictitious.
Thanks.
Except for the hurt bombs. Those are real.
Many animals were harmed during
Yeah.
What?
The dog's feelings.
The dog's
The
feelings.
dog's feelings.
And Sylvester Stallone's head.
Megan, would you want to give your summary a shot here? So you summarize your thoughts and then give it a rating between 1 and 10.
You can wait for us if you want, but we're all interested because this is the only Rocky movie you've seen.
Yes, it was interesting because I watched it and I liked it, and then I talked to my friend and I told her I was doing this and that it was for the 6th Rocky, and she's like, "Oh, you're lucky you're not doing the one." There's one where he just is so stupid. He just like walks around and feels sad and it's just like all memories. I was like, "Oh no, that's the one I watched." But I had a good experience watching this. I thought it opened me up to the world of Rocky, which I never knew anything about except the montage. I thought it wasn't like a great movie or like, but I enjoyed it, and I've seen so many movies like that are not great, and they're still. I don't know. It was a good movie. It was not like I don't know, nothing extraordinary about it except the speech. But I would give it a 6 too. I really liked that speech about getting up.
Also, or a 6.2.
Stop trying to make it, make it a fraction.
6.2 with a bar on top of the 2.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that speech with his son was really, really good, and little Marie was really good, and I'm gonna give it a 6. I enjoyed it. I'm grateful I got to watch the Rocky movie.
See more out of that dog actor. The dog.
How does that impact your score?
I felt the dog could have brought more to the role.
I feel like the dog's role was underwritten.
True.
You feel like he had more bite?
You think the dog had a little something left in the basement?
I will say it's like very dark in here right now. We're in the garage.
Yeah, the movie ended.
That was
Colin,
distracting
can you
me
put
during
something else
during my rating. I was just trying to stay safe.
While Colin's doing that, I'll give my quick rating here. So, yeah, I think for me, this movie is a bit of an anomaly. It, like, for all intents and purposes, like, is a movie and is like, good.
Right, that's kind of what I meant, yeah.
It's fine. It's not bad. It's not cringy. I mean, maybe it's a bit of, like, been there, done that. We've kind of seen this movie before. It does work as a fitting send-off for Rocky, and it erases the memory of Rocky 5, which, like, if it achieves anything, it achieves that, and that is like a thing to be proud of because Rocky 5 needs to be forgotten. Yeah, I like, you know, how it all came together, but ultimately it is a very sort of forgettable entry in the series, I think. I like to believe that there's just Rocky 1 through 4, and that you know, it kind of ends after that when he beats the Russian and wins the Cold War. Colin has put on like a whole new movie.
I think that was the directive, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, so let's see. My previous scores. Yep, that's about right. Yep. Okay, yeah, guys, I think we're going for trip 6s here. I'm gonna give this
Mark of the Beast.
The mark of the beast that's within him that needs to be released.
It's gone now.
And yeah, so 6 Timothy Dolphins.
Is Chris Morocco doing the Rocky remix? Because I heard that on Colleen's and it.
Yeah, he does the Rocky remix that
so
opens
funny.
every one of these shows. Yeah.
Remember when he used to like be with us every time we recorded?
Yep.
He's no longer with us. R.I.P.
Yeah.
In actuality,
he's alive.
Yeah.
He was with us for like 7 shows, I think. It feels like a lot longer because back then we used to only do 1 show per month.
Yeah.
So it felt like it was a longer stretch of time, but it was really.
It was years, but it was only a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we watching?
This is Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Well, we're watching Rocky 3 because, as we've established, the first 20 minutes of every Rocky movie is actually just the last 20 minutes of the previous
This
Rocky
is the
movie.
climax of Rocky 3 that is depicted in the beginning of Rocky 4.
Yes.
See, look how shiny they are. Like, I feel like they weren't shiny in the new one.
Yeah.
They're very shiny.
There was less baby oil on the people, but there was a lot of sprays of sweat, like sea foam level sprays of sweat flying off them in Rocky Balboa.
And more blood too.
Yeah, more blood that you don't see. There's a lot of fluid flying in the air in Rocky Balboa that they didn't really capture in this. I didn't see Duke. I never noticed Duke leaping the top rope there.
Yeah, that's because you don't care that Duke is the best character.
When me and my brother were kids and we used to go to the beach, we would like play this game, this silly like kid game in the water where like we would put some like we'd play fight, you know, we would like pretend like we're kicking each other's ass, but like we would take a little bit of water and put it in our mouth. So to the point where like it didn't look like you had water in your mouth, you know, you just kind of like hold it, and then we'd like fake hit each other. Like I'd hit my brother and he'd go. And he would like spray the water out, so it looked like blood or whatever, you know. Like it's kind of like that what you're talking about. Like every time they get hit, like a spray of like mist goes.
They definitely stole that to emulate the spray of sweat and spit.
I think on our podcast at some point we should do spit takes, but it doesn't really work in audio, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you could just spit all over the place, I guess. I feel like that might change the mood of the podcast.
Yeah.
I definitely give us a heads up before you start that. I'll bring like a garbage bag like I'm at a Gallagher show.
Oh, I was just talking about Gallagher like yesterday.
I feel like we don't talk about
earlier
Gallagher
today.
enough.
That's exactly what I'm saying here.
I've definitely talked about Gallagher on the show before.
I just,
What the hell?
where is he? Like, isn't it time for Gallagher to come back?
I'm waiting for like the day that I get on a plane somewhere and it's just Gallagher's next to me. And then like halfway through the flight, he goes in the overhead compartment and he takes out a watermelon.
Yeah.
Sits down and I'm like, oh, here it comes. And he's like, no, I just eat them now. And he cuts it carefully.
Watermelon.
Wait, you remember that is my story, right? That I was on an airplane with Gallagher?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I did not
I
remember.
swear I've told it on the show like 3
Okay.
times.
Okay.
When I was a little
I
kid.
still haven't done my rating yet, but
Wait, did Gallagher smash a watermelon or did he carefully eat one? How does the story end?
He crashed the plane. I don't know.
Crashing
He
this
didn't have any
plane.
watermelons. It was really disappointing.
Oh, well, that is heartbreaking.
Gallagher was getting caught part of your plan. Crashing this plane. Sorry.
I don't know why that's so funny, and I don't know why Gallagher always makes me think of Doug Henney. The
What?
do you know the magician?
Wasn't that the quarterback from Michigan?
No, Doug Henney. I think Doug Henney is the name of the magician who's like very flamboyant, and he always wore the onesie, and he was like the same era and kind of the
Okay.
same like ridiculousness of
How
like
dare
how
you.
how does this person become famous?
Gallagher is a way better act than Doug Henney.
Well, I'm not saying he doesn't. I'm just saying.
Who was-
All right.
Anyways,
Give this movie a rating.
Gallagher, come back, please. If you're listening, please come back.
If you can hear the sound of my voice, walk towards the light.
Come back to the public life.
Somewhere right now, a watermelon
Begin
is exploding.
performing again. Yeah.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Let's just skip your rating. I feel like, I feel like
We already got the
at
trip
this time
six.
it's-
Yeah.
Yeah, this time it's
it's a
gonna be an
6.
anti.
Honestly, like,
It's gonna be an anticlimax.
surprise, surprise. Guess what I was going to rate this movie?
Rocky 6.
Rocky 6, I was going to rate a 6.
Wow.
Timothy Dolphins.
Wow.
I feel like that's pretty appropriate.
Gallagher.
What is Timothy
Here's the
Dolphin?
sex robot.
Oh, that's the robot, yeah.
Oh, shit.
Hello,
Yeah.
Polly.
They're gonna
Here
have
is your
sex?
birthday cake.
Like, you can't tell he's falling in love?
Are you a pleasure
Sorry,
droid?
falling in love? I don't know if he's falling in love.
He's Pollying in love.
Happy birthday, Polly.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it talks
That
like in the
sounds-
beginning,
Happy
but then
birthday,
he
Polly.
makes it talk like a lady.
Yo, I wanted a sports car for my birthday.
What the fuck do you get anything for your birthday, Paulie? You're a leech and an
Yeah.
alcoholic.
I've got a tiny cowboy hat on right now.
Oh,
looks like,
that's so weird. One of his dogs.
Looks like that serial killer. What's his name? The clown.
John Wayne Gacy.
Yeah, John Wayne Gacy.
Let's just segue right into a live podcast of Rocky 5 again.
So that was it, Colin. No summary, just your score.
I think I've said what I
We
came
got
to
the
say.
gist.
We got the gist.
I thought we would. I did come in ready to be like, oh, like my hot take is that I would keep Rocky 5 in the series and get rid of Rocky 6 because even though Rocky 5 is bad, that like sometimes bad movies need to exist. And I thought we would go on like a little like adventure of talking about that, but I'm happy with the amount we talked about that. Because it was really just, you know,
Barely at all. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think
Totally
it
brushed
works.
over it.
Yeah, it was really just to broach the subject. Broach is the thing you wear. Broach is what you do with a
I think they're
subject.
both brooches.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
no
broche
broche.
just sounds like a thing like a bro would say.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, yo,
Broche.
Broche, what's up?
Yeah.
Broach. Like, oh yeah, I want to get like a really good male friend, like, and buy him a brioche bread and be like brioche.
And then also give him a brooch. And say, can I broach
Yeah.
this brooch with you, bro?
You're not doing it right, Harris. You're not getting into it. You're not committing to this bro
It's
role.
true. It's true. Like, I couldn't.
So Harris, I believe you have some
Oh yeah,
news.
almost forgot. So yeah, we've got a new series coming up. It was a tough decision. I think I say every time now that I'm going to do the Evil Dead next, and I never do it, and I'm not going to do it now. It will happen someday, eventually. And then, what was I thinking of? There was like, I already told you guys what I was thinking of doing, and that's the one I'm going to do. But then I had something. Oh, you know what I thought of the other day? I saw Ocean's 11 again, and I was like, we should do Ocean's 11. So, I mean, eventually we are going to do those because I will pick those soon.
Let's do those.
But what we're going to do next is a series of movies that I have not seen. I've seen the first 3, I believe, but I definitely haven't seen the complete series. I am not the demographic. I didn't read the books.
There's more than 3 Twilights?
Oh my God, really?
There were 4.
There's 4?
Yeah, the last one they split, they did that thing where they split it into 2.
But I've heard these movies are good, and I enjoyed the ones that I saw, and they are the Harry Potter movies.
Whoa.
What? You haven't seen them?
I haven't. Well, I've seen the first couple, but I haven't. But I didn't read the books. I was an adult when the first book came out, so it's not like they aren't a big part of my life. But I did enjoy the movies that I saw, and I've heard that they're all really good, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it should be fun.
Well, you heard wrong, and this is going to be a shitty series.
Prisoner of Azkaban. Wow, you're lucky.
I'll be honest, like, I have mixed feelings. I do have some excitement, but I also have some non-excitement.
I feel like Colin's going to enjoy this more than any of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't know why he's acting like he's not going to be excited about this. This is so much in his wheelhouse of, like, fantasy and weird shit and being long. I think all these things
they're all pretty long, yeah.
But, like, isn't J.K. Rowling problematic?
Oh, yeah,
Yes.
definitely, yes.
And I'm sure we'll talk about that on episode 1 and all through every episode.
Or maybe we can just ignore it and act like she had nothing to do with it.
Why does he have glasses if they know magic?
It's his whole look.
I feel like, I feel like
Is he
they're
the only kid with glasses in the whole series?
I don't think they have
The only one with
lenses
a
in them.
name.
Why don't they, like,
Does Luna?
why don't they, like, Lasico Patronus in there or whatever?
Yeah, she has glasses, but I think they're more for fashion.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Maybe Harry's are too, though.
Maybe his glasses are magic. Maybe he sees something from them that other kids can't see.
Yeah.
So we're just covering just what are there, 8 movies?
Yeah, we're doing whatever the normal ones are. We're not doing Fantastic Beasts.
That's its own thing.
Yeah, and I don't want to do them as bonus movies either. We've got to find better things to do for the Patreon folks.
Reunion one. You do the reunion.
Oh yeah, we could do that as a bonus. I guess I don't know. We'll see. Let's audible that one at the end. To see how we feel.
This robot.
Megan is like,
What are they doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's little Milo.
Yes, that's little Milo.
Yep.
And this is definitely like before Paulie turns the robot into a sexy lady robot, so they're not weird about the kid hanging all over.
Yeah,
it like
they're
that.
actually using the robot as a stereo right now and a telephone.
Yes.
This doesn't feel like Rocky. This feels like Total Recall.
This is very much like, and see, look how handsome he is and how stylishly he's
Yeah,
dressed,
I
and
like
how
him.
well
hear him
he's talking.
If you could hear him talk, he's making total sense, and he sounds super smart.
Which one is this?
This is 4.
Okay, I'll be watching this one.
This is one of the better ones.
Yes, definitely watch the first one and this one.
Yeah.
The first one's great. The first one is just stupendous. This
Yeah.
one's really good too.
This one looks awesome.
It is.
It's kind of like even the dumb things about this one are kind of awesome.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the dumb things about it are awesome.
You could even say that the dumb things are the best things in this one. Also, the hair is pretty good, just in general.
A lot of
A lot of good
Adidas.
hair.
There's a lot of Adidas
Wow.
product placement going on. I
Yeah,
didn't notice before.
A lot of shoulder pads on anyone wearing a suit or a jacket.
I looked up actually that sweater in the last scene that Rocky was wearing, the Adidas like V shape one.
With the Italian flag?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like if you want to order that right now, it's so expensive. It's like
What, like $180?
$500.
$500?
Yeah, because they don't
Only?
make it
Wow.
anymore.
If I was Italian, maybe.
Oh. Yeah, I'm not Italian. Matt, you're from Long Island. That's
kind of like
Hey.
honorary Italian.
Yeah,
I mean,
close.
that's
I think
true.
You probably have hair in the back of your shoulder.
My
right?
perception of the world is that like Italians were like in high school, like everyone was Italian. There's like
I wasn't aware there were places where there weren't Italians.
Well, it's funny now, like living in LA, where like
where it's hard to get good Italian food.
It's hard to get good Italian food, or like even meet an Italian person. Like, it's like
Wait, are you
someone-
talking about people of Italian descent or actual like
Yeah.
Mamma Mia?
Mamma Mia.
Yeah, I may have in LA you have the chance of meeting an Italian person
More
and
than
not an Italian American.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's true. Well, there you have
Capiche?
Gabagool.
it. Forget about it. Megan Seeley, thank you for coming all this way to watch this ridiculous movie with us and talk about it.
Thank you.
Do you have anything? This comes out in about a month. Do you have anything you're working on that you want to plug, or something that's coming out, or anything?
Social
I mean,
medias?
you don't have to, but you know,
Or literally anything you want to say.
yeah, your
Yes.
social media, exactly.
Yeah, just like Sylvester Stallone, I wrote, directed, and starred in a movie called Putty Sticks that we finally finished production on, and you can go to puttysticksmovie.com and donate and help us finish post.
Yay.
Is that PUTT or PUDD?
PUDDYSTICKS.
See, I would have thought putty sticks like pudding. I'm glad you clarified.
The last S is a $.
It's $7 signs.
Putty Sticks.
Nice. Well, I will definitely check that out.
That's great. Can people follow you anywhere on like Instagram?
Yeah,
or Twitter?
Instagram at MT Seeley, SEELY, Mount Seeley.
Nice. Mount Seeley.
Excellent.
You heard it
Apparently,
here.
that's what it looks like.
It does. There probably is a Mount Seeley somewhere.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, I don't know if like every name turned into a mountain.
It just
somewhere.
sounds like the name of an actual mountain to me.
It did. It does.
What if like in
Or
a
a ski slope.
what if in like a post-apocalyptic future, like a bunch of mattresses became obsolete or like infected with bed bugs, and they piled up all the mattresses, and it
That would
became
be Mount Seeley. I think it's spelled differently.
They're all
SEELY.
Sorry.
You're confusing the audience. They're going to be.
I know.
They're going to end up following a mattress mountain because of you.
I thought this
They'll
was
be
like a really cool.
I wanted to check out her
conceptual
movie and follow her on Instagram, and now I'm just following this mattress mountain. That
so
has the-
sorry.
It has the dumbest posts.
It's all on soiled
Just
mattresses.
complaining about bed bugs every single day.
Hey, I'm so sorry, and I really hope that I can spring back from this.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Give it a rest.
Yeah, I think it's time for you to go to bed.
Wow, it's nice to see him younger.
Yeah. See, he looks great.
Carl Weathers looks alive.
He's all alive and stuff.
I mean, Carl Weathers is alive.
Carl
but-
Weathers is alive.
Yeah, he definitely is.
But listen, I haven't pronounced somebody dead who isn't lately, so I mean, we can always bring that back.
Hey, we
Harris
can,
used
we
to
can
always
predict
say
the
people were
future.
dead.
I mean, we did Rocky IV, and now look what's going on with Russia. I mean,
There
come
you go.
on.
Yep.
That,
Well, I think Stallone should get on that. He solved this problem last time.
I mean, by the time this episode comes out, we could probably be in the throes of World War III. Who the hell knows?
Or we could send a fighter over there to square things up with him.
Oh, yeah. Who would it be in today's day and age? Still Rocky.
It's still probably Rocky.
74-year-old Rocky.
Yeah.
All right, I think our greatest chance is who? The Rock? I don't know.
What is the longest we've ever gone beyond the end of the movie? Like, 'cause we're
way
deep,
far.
We're deep in a second movie at this point.
It just feels that way because Rocky IV is like, I think 20 minutes long or something. It's like a very short movie. We're almost at the fight scene already.
Yeah, we're almost at the end of Rocky IV.
It's weird that we've watched this much of Rocky IV and there hasn't been a montage yet.
Yeah, I mean, we're very close to seeing James Brown.
The opening, like, Rocky 3 part of Rocky 4 is a montage, though.
That's true.
We
That's
did see a montage technically already.
That's
I
true.
guess so.
All right, I think we're going to call it.
All right.
Well, we're going to throw in the towel here. Guys, Rocky, I mean, it's an amazing franchise. I think it's one of our best so far. It's the series that invented sequels, I think. Were there sequels before
you
Rocky
can make
2?
that. You can make that claim. It's not true, but go for it.
It's close. It's
Yeah.
close. I think it started the trend of like multiple sequels, and it was like, you know, a big joke in the 80s, right? Like, how many Rocky movies are there going to be? But now we have like 27 Marvel movies or whatever. Who the fuck knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Good stuff.
Good stuff. Great stuff.
Great stuff.
Great
Excellent.
analysis. Great guests. Great group of guys. Great dark garage. We're here. We're tired. My allergies. I'm allergic to this garage. I feel like
Let's get out of here.
yeah.
Do do do
Do. Take it back.
Take it back.
do 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 do.
Take it back.
As always, thank you so much for listening, and please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you like listening to us talk about your favorite movies. Thank you to our guest Megan Seeley, and as always, thank you to Chris Morocco for banging out the Rocky remix for this series. We have a Patreon that you can check out and subscribe to for just $1 a month over at www.patreon.com/L2W. Help support the podcast by joining. You get instant access to over 50 different bonus shows that feature us covering non-franchise classics such as Cliffhanger, Loaded Weapon 1, Showgirls, Mortal Kombat, and even the Star Trek Next Generation movies. Again, that website to join is www.patreon.com/L2W. License to Watch is part of the Fandom Limb Podcast Network, so be sure to check out some of their other awesome shows. And be sure to tune in next time for the first episode of our new series, Harry Potter.